Man, so I saw Wicked on Friday, on Black Friday. Mm-hmm. Also, it's cold as hell here. For anybody who doesn't know, we're in the Southeast. So when it gets below like 50, we start getting alarmed and people start buying Pop-Tarts and milk and all that. But anyway, yeah, I saw Wicked on Friday, and I know you're not a musical person. And I don't know that I necessarily consider myself a musical person. I kind of look at it the same way as I do anime, right? Where it's like the format itself is not what does it for me in any way, but it's what you give me in that format.
Right.
So if you want to give me something as a musical and I think it's tremendous, then by all means. But it doesn't gain or lose any points with me because it's a musical. And I feel the same way about anime. I feel the same way about most things, like graphic novels, kind of, same way. Like, you give it to me. You give me a great story in a comic book. You give it to me in a regular novel. You give me the graphic audio. I don't really care as far as the format. But I gotta say, Wicked was tremendous. It deserves all the money it's making and all the accolades it's getting. As it's going to turn out, man, I think we're going to end up with probably another $1 billion film this year. Moana 2 might hit it.
Oh, really?
Despite the bad reviews. I mean, it's raking it in the box office. But Wicked is as well. It already shattered the record for the highest gross, like domestic and international, for any Broadway adaptation.
Damn.
Yeah, I think Les Mis held that title before with like 101 million domestic, and this blew right through that. I think it's sitting at like 240 as of right now. 240 million.
Well, that's crazy. I guess you could say this movie is defying gravity.
Oh my God.
And they say I'm not cultured. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. I made a reference just then.
Yeah, so anyway, the worldwide after this past weekend is sitting at 359 million.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. And I mean, the budget had to be
the budget
low.
Budget looked pretty hefty.
165.
Okay. That's how it's about.
And that's for a 3-hour movie.
It's 3 hours?
Yeah, it's 3 hours. And I don't know if that budget, if they did like an Infinity War Endgame thing, if they filmed both parts, because this is only part one of the musical.
Okay.
So it's act one of the play, and then presumably part two will be the rest. Let me tell you though, me and the homie K are actually going to put out a review for this, so I don't want to turn this into the Wicked podcast.
And I certainly will not edit my thoughts into that episode.
But let me tell you, it's the most well-paced anything I think I've ever seen.
Oh, really?
Like, it's 3 hours long, and if when that movie ended, you told me that it was an hour, I would believe you.
Damn.
It never, ever felt like, I mean, the way it just moves, the pacing was incredible. There was no part in this movie where I was checking my phone or bored or really anything like that.
I heard it was good.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if like it being a musical is a turn off immediately, then by all means. But it was awesome, and it's kind of a testament to something that we've said about pretty much every medium there is that it's okay to have social commentary in your storytelling. As a matter of fact, I tend to prefer it, but you can't start there.
Right.
You have to start with, I want to tell a story. And then through your characters and their complexities, you can weave in that kind of thing. And I think that, that this is a great example of that, both as a musical, as a Broadway play, as the book it's based on, all of it. So,
yeah, that's pretty incredible, all things considered. Like, I have seen that it is breaking records out there and that people are really enjoying this movie. And then, as you mentioned earlier, I saw that it was a part one. I said, oh, shit, they got more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 3 hours long, and, I mean, it's just half, so.
Wickeder.
Wickeder. Next Wicked.
Super wicked.
Somehow even more wicked.
But no, that's incredible though, and I feel in a weird way, I feel very similar to the Wicked movie that I do about Barbie, where like on the face of it, it's something that you would you might expect me to like to shit on or make fun of, but I can't make fun of something that's well made and well received and making money.
Yeah.
And like my thing of it is that like it doesn't really matter what genre it is or if it's a genre of anything that I enjoy or not. Is it well made?
Yeah.
And I mean that's always going to be A1.
It's a lot spicier than Barbie. Barbie has a lot of, I think, female empowerment message to it, and I applaud it for that.
Right.
A lot of it, you haven't seen it, right?
No.
A lot of it is very much on the nose,
Okay.
but it's like that's what you
what you would expect.
It's kind of what the movie's about.
Right.
Wicked is a little spicier than that.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's more of a but some of y'all ain't with us kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's got kind of that message to it.
I got you.
And which I really, really enjoy. Because it's very, I think to its benefit, kind of The Boys season 1, it's kind of if you're the people they're talking about, you could go see this and you'll miss it.
It'll go right over your head.
It'll go right over your head.
Gotcha.
But if you're not, you're watching it with them in the same room, like, all right, maybe you don't. It's,
What are the odds, you think, that the next X-Men movie does something like that?
Oh, I would love that. 97 doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that too, I just, here's my thing is, I don't know if, I hate to say this, I don't know if Marvel has not even the talent, because they have the talent. I don't know that they have the will to do that.
Interesting.
I think we'll either see, I think we're going to see something south of Days of Future Past, where it was very like that. I think out of all the X-Men movies, like that was the one that was the most in your face. Like, hey, these people are trying to exterminate us.
Yeah.
And some of y'all are going to help them do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then there's like, X3, which was awful, where it was like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah. They kind of got, they got lost with that one.
Yeah. It's like, it's very easy for, Johnny Two Dicks to tell, like, I can't touch my boyfriend without melting him.
Right.
That
was the problem, right? Like with Storm telling Rogue that, hey, there's nothing wrong. And I'm like, you're revered as a goddess. All right.
Yeah, you're a fucking deity. And, like, she can't touch anyone without killing them.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine just the way you are. Like, this, okay, that's easier for some mutants to say, all right? Other mutants, they ain't really got it that easy, you know what I mean? Beast can't exactly go in the supermarket.
Right.
But... yeah, I don't know, man, because like the whole idea of, like you mentioned, of including social commentary in movies. First of all, it's definitely nothing new, and it's nothing that it's nothing bad either. Like you said, if anything, it's actually quite good. It just the success rate of it depends on how good your story is and how good you are at intertwining the messaging with the story.
Right.
It can never be something where your story is the message and that's it. Obviously, there's an exception to every rule, but generally speaking, you have to have a story built in that can support itself even if the message wasn't there. But the message ties itself to the story so well that you can't envision the movie without said message.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we're going to cover part 2 here coming up. Watchmen, I think, is an amazing example of that. Like, there's so many things that Watchmen, it really holds up a mirror to society.
Oh, yeah. In
tons of ways, especially the society of that time. But, I mean, it's still just as relevant today. And Wicked kind of the same way, man. I mean, it's like based on a 20-year-old play based on like a 60-year-old book,
right.
And it's just crazy how they really didn't have to change hardly anything. And it's still incredibly relevant, maybe even more relevant. I mean, I wasn't around back then. But I mean,
yeah.
but I can say it's just as relevant today as it's ever been.
You know, I was I went down a rabbit hole because I was thinking about like my own personal rankings for these Spider-Man movies, right?
That's what we're here to do today.
That's what we will get to at some point tonight.
We will get to that, and I promise you guys, this is going to be interesting because our opinions on this differ wildly. I'm relatively sure about 1, 9, and 10. Outside of that, I'm Jon Snow. I know nothing.
It's funny because I think the same thing. 1, 9, and 10. Actually, 9 and 10 might be. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like my favorite on-screen Peter romances.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it sent me down a rabbit hole, right? And I was like, well, I really like this particular romance, and it got me thinking about one of my favorite Marvel books called Marvels. Not to be confused with the movie. It's just it's not the Marvel. It's just called Marvels. It's a tremendous book, top 5 Marvel comics. I don't think it'll ever be bumped from that spot for me personally. It's a tremendous book, and what it is like it's from the perspective of a journalist. His name is Phil Sheldon, and what this guy is it takes place in like chronological order from the release date of Marvel Comics, and so it starts off in like the 40s with Captain America, and the original Human Torch and Namor, and with them in World War II and all that, and he's like a young kid at that point, really trying to get into the business. And this is Marvel Comics continuity from his POV. Okay. And what it does is it really emphasizes just how big and important and how grand a lot of these things were. Like when Human Torch and Namor fought, you read the old comics and it's like, okay, yeah, this is cool. You read it from this book's POV, from Phil's POV, and you see it and it's like, oh, this was fucking devastating, and then it goes all the way down the line from like all the major Marvel events. Like he's there for Reed and Sue's wedding. He gets that. He gets close to the end of the book, he gets to talk with Gwen Stacy after her father is killed and right before she's killed. But one of my favorite moments in that book though is definitely during the era of the mutants, when the mutants are first really starting to pop up everywhere.
Right.
And it's like, if you read Marvels and you don't understand like the complexities or like what the X-Men were trying to tell you, then like there's just no getting it.
Right.
Like, if you don't get it in that book, it can't be. Like it's almost too on the nose, but they keep it about mutants enough so that you. I guess if you're really dense, you won't get it.
Right.
But it's fantastic though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of how they layer it in Wicked, right? It's like the main character's she's green.
Yeah.
And they treat her like shit because she's green, and you're like, well, that professor is a goat, and he talks. But y'all are gonna treat this green person like what? There's all this weird shit everywhere, but this green person, you treating them like complete dog shit because they're green. And I'm sure there's people that go watch it and they're like, "Man, that is weird." And I'm like,
Yeah, so. Man, yeah, it's. And that's the way that social commentary should be done, right? Because if you make it so thinly veiled that the people who it's for are forced to understand it, and then they will just turn around and say, "Oh, well, this is garbage," or "This is, blah blah blah."
Yeah, I also too I love the idea of taking a classic story like The Wizard of Oz, which is very much like a Tolkien type.
Yeah,
it's this. This is a pure evil force that we're up against, and they're just evil because they're evil. And we're the good guys, and we're going to take them down. And it flips that on its head and turns it into something a lot more nuanced and layered and a lot more realistic, where it's just like, well, actually, we just kind of propagandized everyone against this person so that they wouldn't pay attention to the evil bullshit we were doing.
Right.
So...
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Well, homies, one and all, with that being said, we would like to welcome you all back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. My name is Quentin, and today I am here with my good friend, my brother, the world's greatest co-host. In fact, it is noted that he is the world's greatest co-host.
Yeah, it's known. It is known. This is the way.
The homie Caleb.
What's going on? Hey, I gave a shout out to the homie Kyle a few episodes ago, maybe one episode ago, depending on the order these are released and the order we record them in is not always the same. So it could have been, it was at some point in the past.
I think it was the Watchmen episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Which was the previous episode.
I'm stripping him of his homie title immediately because he told me the other day that he thought that Eternals was better than Multiverse of Madness.
What?
That was my exact reaction. And I hope you clip that out and post it because your reaction, your face there was perfect.
I'm sorry, is there another Eternals movie that I don't know about?
That's what I said. I was like, you're thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't watch the same Eternals movie. Did you, like, take an hour break in the middle of Eternals and go get snacks, make a phone call, you know?
Like, you meant Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
You can say something reasonable. Don't say Eternals.
Yeah, I meant to pull up our Ultimate MCU ranking and find out how many spots were between those two. It had to have been at least like 20.
Oh, easily. Easily. Better than Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, I was so offended.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, and this is why I don't respect your opinion on anything. So
that's wow.
It was awful. Yeah.
Holy shit. Well, I can say with a surety, I don't think it's possible for us to be that far off.
No.
With anything tonight. Like, it's feasibly impossible.
Yeah, because there's only 10.
There's only 10.
So tonight we're going to be ranking the live action Spider-Man, the theatrical Spider-Man releases. That covers everything. So that it would be the 3 MCU Spider-Man movies, the 5...
Raimi.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, the Sam Raimi trilogy, and then the 2 Mark Webb movies.
Yeah.
And then the 2...
Spider-Verse.
Yep.
So, 10 in total.
10 in total.
I was just going to throw, like, the 5 Sony ones together.
That would have worked, too.
But I guess, technically, that's 7, because the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, any way you slice it, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And also, when you originally were, like, ranking the Spider-Man movies, I was going to be like, you were not including the ones that, you know, don't have Spider-Man in them.
That thought did cross my mind. Like, someday it would be fun to rank the Sony Marvel universe.
Well, we kind of already did that. Remember, we ranked the Sony movies.
Did we?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
What was number 1?
Venom 3? Was it Venom 3?
Holy shit.
Or did we do it before Venom came out and it would have been like Venom 1?
Wow. I should remember this, but I don't. That sounds fascinating, though.
It definitely happened.
What was the worst?
Probably Madam Web or Morbius. I don't remember which one it was, but like they're all pretty awful.
Yeah, like they're all fighting for last place. It's like, come on, guys. One of you has to be somewhat redeemable.
I'm almost completely certain that we did this.
Okay.
We may have done it as a interlude in the Madam Web review.
Okay, yeah, that might be.
Or Venom 3.
Or Venom 3, yeah. Yeah, we probably did.
Yeah. I don't think we did an episode on it, but I think we...
How long can Sony keep this up? The Spider-Man...
If they plan to make this Sinister 5 movie, I swear to God...
Oh, boy, okay. Well, you know, the thing of it is, right, is Spider-Man, he's always been one of Marvel's cash cows. You know, it's to the point where in a lot of different comic book forums and groups and pages that I see and frequent, the question is often brought up, like, what is the Mount Rushmore of comic book characters? And the 4 names that typically come up would be Batman, Superman, Captain America, and Spider-Man. And I think regardless of like if you agree with that list or not, it's a pretty damn solid Mount Rushmore. And you know, Spider-Man, he's up there for a reason. He's he has some very unique properties about him, and there are very, very important reasonings as to why he's so well regarded or highly regarded. Another interesting thing is that, like, unlike his contemporaries on this fictional comic book Mount Rushmore, Spider-Man is by far the youngest of the characters. Whereas he was created in the 60s, you got Cap, who was made in the 40s, Batman and Superman, who were made in the late 30s, and there's Spider-Man, who was, again, made some 30 years after them. So it's always cool to look at how popular this character is despite his relative youth.
I'm trying to think of if I agree with that Mount Rushmore or not. Mm-hmm. I think I do, though. I think I do. Definitely in terms of sales, right? I don't think you can.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I think now, like, if you take everything all encompassing, I'm not saying I would, but you could replace, I think, maybe Cap with Iron Man.
I think only after the popularity of the MCU.
Yeah.
I think if you're keeping it strictly to comics,
then
I think that's hard.
It is.
And also, like, argument could be made that you could swap Cap or Superman for Wolverine.
That's true. I was going to say one of them could also easily go for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it'd be hard to argue with right now. I mean, if you look at the best-selling comics right now, it's the three Absolute, and this new Avengers run that they're doing, which apparently is off the charts, just incredible.
Right.
What's it called? Like
Twilight, you mean?
Avengers Twilight.
Yeah.
I heard nothing but great stuff about that.
Same.
And all three of the Absolute arcs.
Yeah, and I mean, as a matter of fact, Absolute Batman recently crossed 400,000 copies sold.
Yeah, fucking Death of Superman over here. So, we're talking about cash cow, man. I'm looking at this, and out of the 7 live action movies we're talking about tonight, the lowest gross of any of them is $709 million.
That's the lowest?
That's the lowest.
Is that Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like, this is the shittiest, the shittiest moneymaker. $709 million.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about this. There's only a handful of MCU properties that can touch that.
Yeah. Especially solo characters.
Yeah, most of your solo movies, they're not throwing up $709 million. And this is the lowest of them.
Which was in 2014 or 15,
Yeah. 2014. Now, if you include the animated movies, the original Spider-Verse made $384 million.
Wow.
Which is still incredible. The budget on that was only $90 million.
Oh, shit.
The budget on the second one was only $100 million, and it made $690 million.
So it doubled.
Yeah. No. It, whatever, 7 times. Oh, you mean it doubled Spider-Verse? Yeah. It made 7 times its budget.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
And I mean, this is a really good investment for Sony because the total production cost of all 10 of these movies is $1.7 billion. But combined, they have made $9 billion.
And this is why, like, they will never relinquish those rights fully back to Disney.
Now that doesn't mean Sony got all of that money because they had to split a lot of the Disney money.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking No Way Home made almost $2 billion.
Yeah, it was almost $2 billion.
Yeah, 1.92.
Like that's like when we talk about like the highest grossing movies of all time, that's clearly like where is that on the list? Because it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be top 3. Like, how many movies have damn near closed in on $2 billion? It's not many.
Yeah, let's see the all-time charts. Let's see. That's domestic right there. Let's do worldwide because domestic it's Let's see. Domestic is still Force Awakens.
God damn.
I know.
It's going to be a while before that one gets beaten domestically.
So, No Way Home, is number 7.
Number 7?
The only movies that have ever topped it are Infinity War, Force Awakens, Titanic, both Avatars, and Endgame.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive as fuck, though.
Yeah, I mean, it beat out Jurassic World, The Lion King, the first Avengers movie, Top Gun Maverick, both the Frozen movies, Age of Ultron, all the Harry Potter franchise, Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean,
yeah.
And this is a solo movie.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's definitely the highest grossing of the solo movies, superhero movies. Like, on this list, you don't get to another solo superhero movie.
To what? The Dark Knight?
Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
At 18.
Black Panther, yeah.
Yeah, and then Iron Man 3 at 24. There's another Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, at 32. Captain Marvel at 33, and then The Dark Knight is... did Rises make more than... Yeah, Rises made more.
Did it?
Rises at 35. Yeah, The Dark Knight's not until 54. Yeah, Rises made more than Dark Knight.
I didn't know that.
Dark Knight just barely cleared the $1 billion. Rises made like 1.1.
Dark Knight was the first $1 billion comic book movie, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, back then.
Yeah. Man, it's like the guy that ran the 4-minute mile. Like, one person does it and everyone does it.
Yeah. Well, Dark Knight, man, I feel like was such a... this is not the Batman episode, but any episode can become a Batman episode. Right. I remember that movie coming out, and that movie to me really feels like when the superhero craze went from, just superhero movies are a good investment to like, this will dominate cinema for a generation.
Yeah.
Because when that movie came out, I mean, even somebody like myself, I really loved Batman Begins. Mm-hmm. And I just remember walking into that movie and just being absolutely blown away. And it felt like this was on another level from everything we had gotten thus far. And it raised the bar. And then everybody had to step up.
Yeah. It shifted the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, like this I think was really when like non-comic book superhero people were really checking out the superhero stuff. Because, I mean, everyone was talking about it.
Well, and it was so grounded, right? It was so easy to sell to somebody because there's really not a whole lot in that movie that isn't realistic.
Yeah.
That,
and also, unlike most sequels, obviously it helps a lot if you've seen Begins, but you don't even necessarily have to watch Begins to understand exactly what he's doing here in this movie. Yeah, I mean, you obviously get a lot more of the dynamic with Rachel in Begins. But if you haven't seen Begins, then you don't know that they made the most awful recast of all time. So it kind of helps. Oh, it's not the worst recast of all time.
It's not the worst recast, but it's a terrible recast.
Yeah.
Just to note here, you haven't seen Maggie Gyllenhaal in fuck all else.
God damn. It gets worse when you think about Jake Gyllenhaal auditioning for Batman back then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, surely they would have chosen somebody else for the recast then.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that. That's gross.
Somebody wants to see it.
Yeah, that's true. I no kink shame here, none at all. It's really funny because one of the there's a show that I watched that actually has Timothée Chalamet's sister in it.
Oh, okay.
That would be awful.
Oh, well. Speaking of things that are awful, let's talk about what we think should be number 10 on the list of these Spider-Man movies here. I guess before we get too far into it, I got to say this. When I was really thinking about, this list and where I put all the movies at, even with the ones that can definitely be deemed as bad, there are things that I like about all these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's things I really do enjoy about all of these. I got to say, honestly, I ranked these. I thought about maybe doing criteria, and then I decided fuck that, and I just ranked them by just my personal enjoyment. Mm-hmm. But I'll be honest with you, like the ones in the middle, I might have the most beef with because, like, those are just kind of boring, to me. Like,
I'm with you.
There's a few of these where if I put them on, I'd probably be on my phone the whole time.
Yeah.
But if I put my number 10 on, I'd probably be glued to the screen. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Like, how did we get here?
Yeah. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay. My number 10 is going to line right up with the box office, and I'm going to go Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I am right there with you.
Yeah, I thought we would. I thought we would be these 10 and 9. I was really sure about. Man, this movie suffers from just about every superhero trope. Every bad superhero trope.
Yeah.
On the list, you have the too many villains problem. You have the sequelitis. You can tell going into this they were like, well, we have to make a sequel.
Yep.
Well, what's the idea for the sequel? I don't know. We got some Spider-Man shit. We're going to do Spider-Man shit.
Right. Who haven't we used yet?
It was also very clear in this that, like, obviously, despite the fact that the two, Mark Webb, that's the guy's name? So apt. The two Mark Webb movies are kind of the redheaded stepchildren of the Spider-Man movies. Nobody holds that against Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was an amazing choice. He was in a movie recently with what's her name?
Emma Stone?
No, not that one. She's in Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of her name.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the new Black Widow.
The new Black Widow, yeah.
Elena, yeah.
What's her damn name?
Florence Pugh.
Yeah, Florence Pugh, and their chemistry on screen is like incredible.
Yeah.
And they're both tremendous. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched it because it's kind of a rom-com, I think.
Right.
Or it's a love story or whatever. But apparently, like, the two of them on screen are just, electric. And, Andrew Garfield, he's just such a great actor, So, yeah, he remains unscathed, personally, by this. But the problem with Amazing Spider-Man 2 is it's like there's no personal journey for him. It's like they did pretty well with that in Amazing Spider-Man 1, and then in Amazing Spider-Man 2, he's just kind of there for everyone else to revolve around.
That's exactly what it is. He is what I'll call a reactionary character.
Yeah.
In that movie, where he's just reacting to everything going on around him, but he himself has no real, like you said, personal journey or growth. He's just reacting to everything going on. And then, you get to the point, obviously, where Gwen dies, which, if I had to look at the pros of this movie, I applaud them for sticking to their guns with that.
That scene was incredible.
It was.
It was so well shot and well done. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like that's the first thing they wrote down.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think
we're going to do the death of Gwen Stacy in this.
Yep.
It hasn't been done. And I feel like they probably spent like 2 days filming that shit.
It makes you think, right? If they had plans on doing a trilogy, do you really want to kill her there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, The Dark Knight did it.
Yeah, but the difference is, like, no one cares about Rachel.
I think if you were gonna do it there, I would have actually liked to see what they would have done in a third movie with him. But it has to be there for his journey.
Yeah.
And it almost sucks because you can't do the Venom suit in the third one. Because that's been done.
Yeah.
But it would have been a perfect reason for him to do it.
They could have actually used it with reason.
Yeah. It would have been a great reason for him to do it.
Yeah.
And us to get this kind of edgier Spider-Man. Fortunately, like years later in No Way Home, we were actually able to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man go through that, and then to see this Peter help him.
Yeah. And
I really liked that. But, the stuff that he was talking about, that's what we could have seen in the third movie,
Exactly.
And we were robbed of that. And it is crazy, right, that they were like, oh, well, this movie only made $700 million, so we have to wrap this shit up.
Bro, I was just thinking that, like, The movie made $700 million, and they decided to not do a third one.
Yep. Guess we got to hit the wrap it up box. But you know what? People really want to see Morbius again. The same people that re-released Morbius said we can't make a third movie here because the second one only made $700 million.
Oh man, you know, I'm glad that the people in charge of Sony are in charge of Sony because they understand shit way better than I do.
Yeah, clearly. This movie just has so many problems.
It does, right? Like, you know, I was thinking about this earlier too. How often in superhero movies have we seen the trope where it's the nerdy, socially awkward character who gets not even slighted, but like just misaligned with the main character, and then they become the supervillain. Like that's, you know, we mention often, right? Like there's nothing wrong with tropes, but with this trope there is, because this trope is just inherently bad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like it happened in Batman Returns with Catwoman. I think it happened in Batman Forever with Poison Ivy. It happened Wonder Woman 84 with Cheetah. It happened here, you know, with Electro. It happened in Iron Man 3, you know, with Aldrich Killian.
For the record, I fucking don't like Batman Returns at all. I think it's trash. But anyway, so is Iron Man 3. Anyway.
It's better than Forever, though.
Let us know what you think in the comments. I think Batman Forever is tremendously better than Returns.
I'll say this: Forever has a better soundtrack. You know, Seal is the only thing saving that movie. He's just lucky that Prince didn't show up for Batman Returns.
Was it Batman and Robin or Forever that had the dope ass Smashing Pumpkins track, but it's like not even in the movie?
Oh,
you know the one I'm talking about?
I don't think I do. I remember the song. Fuck. No, I don't.
We'll have to look that up off mic
later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Anyway. But you're right.
Yeah, it's just like there's just this weird trope with a lot of superhero movies where we get these villains who are just so. Like, why are you a villain? Like, you really have no reason. You're just bored. You're not a villain. You're just bored right now. And I mean, Electro was such an afterthought of a villain, such a lackluster villain. And on the flip side, you have Dane DeHaan, who plays Harry in this. And I don't think that he was a bad Harry. I think that they just completely jumped the gun on all the Goblin stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with it is like they filled this movie. Don't forget that we also got this super ridiculous Rhino at the beginning.
Oh my gosh, and the end.
Yeah, yeah, and so there's 3 fucking villains in this, and none of them had any time to breathe. Electro's whole backstory was based on the fact that Spider-Man forgot his name.
Right.
So he's like, I must become a supervillain. Also, another trope is like the person falls in a vat of goo, and they become a supervillain.
Right.
That's, you know, Batman animated series ran out of that shit around halfway through season 2.
Yeah. And then OSHA and Gotham was like, we got to do something.
Yeah, and that was in the 90s. Don't use that shit.
Right.
And then, yeah, Dane DeHaan, like, I remember that casting, and we were both like, that's going to be nuts.
Yeah.
But there's no room for any of these characters, even Peter. Every single one of these characters is suffocated by the script.
You're right. Like, everyone is, and so, like, you don't get a chance to celebrate the friendship between Peter and Harry. I mean, say what you will about the Raimi trilogy, but at least they had that.
They did, and it was, you know, we were all for it, you know, to where it felt like such a big deal and a betrayal when he became the Hobgoblin or whatever.
And even though they flubbed it there, but still, like
they did.
But it felt like the buildup was right. The execution.
Here we didn't get any of it.
We didn't get any of that here.
And like we got maybe 45 seconds of him as the Goblin actually.
Not much at all. And then like so we get this character who shows up in the fourth quarter as the villain, and then he kills one of the main characters.
Yeah. They got plot armor. You can't do that.
Right. What the fuck? That shouldn't be possible. Yeah, so like that whole thing just fell flatter than Gwen.
Oh, that's fucked up. So I gotta say though, one of the things that people tend to hate about this movie, but I don't, is that Electro's attacks play dubstep. I actually love that. I love it a lot. I'm sad that they dropped it from No Way Home.
Oh my gosh!
But okay. I love that. I thought it was tremendous. A lot of people really hated it, but I actually tend to dislike the Emperor Palpatine lightning crackling sound. I actually, maybe don't directly make it sound like dubstep, but I liked the kind of like the Doctor Strange fight, when he fights the Sinister Strange or whatever the fuck in the like alternate dimension or whatever. I kind of like it felt kind of like that to me, where the attacks had a unique sound to them, and I appreciated that.
I never really minded one way or another about like the noises of his attacks. I was too busy being distracted by the atrocious look and design of Electro.
Oh, it's awful.
It was so bad.
It looked like he kind of looked like Zordon from the Ivan Ooze Power Rangers movie.
Damn, that's apt as fuck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'll say this, man, and I alluded to this earlier, but say what you will about these two amazing Spider-Man movies, but it's got my favorite Peter Parker romance in it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Tom and Zendaya. Obviously, isn't it also weird that like all of the Peters and love interests have dated?
Well, you got to think, man. They spend all this time on set together, and they had to make out and shit,
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah,
it's not the only time that's happened. I mean, Ryan Reynolds has fucked half of his co-stars when he was doing rom-coms and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess you put it that way, but it's just, I don't know.
What's that guy's name? He was in the D&D movie.
Chris Pine?
No. He played the evil guy in the movie.
Hugh Grant?
Yeah, Hugh Grant, man, he's laying pipe.
Especially back in the Disney.
Yeah.
Hey, remember when Michael Douglas said he had throat cancer from eating pussy?
Yeah.
Bro, for like 6 months almost, I was like, do I really want to?
I know. I'm pretty sure that wasn't true.
Yeah, and then I was like, this can't be.
My life experience, either I'm very resilient
right.
or...
I was like, that's possible. What the fuck?
I heard about that, and I set out on an experiment to prove whether it was true or not.
Yeah, that shit had me shooketh.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like, wait a minute.
Right. Yeah. That's like when you find out Dr. Manhattan was giving people cancer. It's like, can he do that?
Yeah, can he do that? Is he doing that?
But yeah, I really dug the romance here because like I can really see like Gwen and Peter, those two with their unique chemistry hitting it off. And
right.
And it just worked from like an actor standpoint and from like the writing in it. And that's, I guess, another thing about it. Is that even in this movie, as bad as it is, they continue to sell you the idea of these two really being something.
Yeah.
And you just have to appreciate that.
It was well done. I mean, it's the only. I mean, well, it's the only live action Gwen that we've gotten.
Yeah.
She was done so much better, I think, as far as having her own character and stuff in the Spider-Verse movies, but.
Particularly the second one for me.
Yeah. She's the main character in the second one to me. I mean, either that or like her and Miles basically are equally. I think
that is what it feels like.
Yeah, and I love that dynamic.
Yeah.
Any of the video games are welcome to get that right any day now.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Anything else about Amazing Spider-Man 2 before we move on?
No, it's atrocious. It's a mess.
Yeah, and like you said, it was clear that they had the idea to kill Gwen from the start, but didn't really know how to get there or what to do afterwards.
What would you change in this movie to to improve its fortunes.
I mean, to a lesser degree, the Amazing Spider-Man franchise had similar problems to the Star Wars sequel trilogy. What I mean is that, like, they made the Amazing Spider-Man, and you can tell they had no plans or real concrete ideas for the sequel.
Right.
And then they made the sequel. You could tell they really had no plans or ideas for a third one. It never got made. And you can just tell that, right? So what I would have done, I mean, obviously, I feel like you should put Harry somewhere in that first movie, because if you want to sell the death of Gwen, and if you want Harry to be the one to do the killing of Gwen, you have those three be friends,
right?
And I mean, it would just make that death that much more impactful, because it's not only the death of a beloved character, but it's also the death of a friendship between Peter and Harry in that case, But they didn't really see it, so they didn't do it. I mean, that I think would have been a simple change that would have helped, and it also would have helped the pacing, I think, in Amazing Spider-Man 2. So when they introduce Harry, they don't have to do this whole rigmarole about bringing him in and where he comes from and all that.
If it's me, I think that you do something where he kind of idolizes Spider-Man to an extent, right? And he's trying to use his father's technology to catch up and try to help Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. I think it's a much better movie, if the three of them are friends, but he shows up. He doesn't know Peter Spider-Man, and he shows up. Maybe you even put some scenes in the movie where he's like showing Peter he's building the goblin suit and the board and all that. And maybe Peter's like, man, I don't think you should do this. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a lot of responsibility. It's not, you don't know what you're getting into. You should look out for yourself. You're a public figure, all this stuff, trying to talk him out of it. And I think he helps Spider-Man fight Electro. And when he kills Gwen, it's an accident.
Oh.
Like, I think he kills Gwen by accident. And you get the thing where Spider-Man, tries to, and it doesn't work. Neck snaps, whatever.
Yeah.
I think Peter goes down, takes the mask off, and, like, Harry is going to also check on her as well. Mm-hmm. But right as he gets there, he sees him take the mask off and finds out that it's Peter at that moment. Mm. And that's when he's just like, what the fuck? And I think that's the rift between them.
Right.
And then he's the villain in the third movie.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been incredible.
That would have been nice. That would have been real good, actually.
But but fuck me.
And like the only thing that I think people would be hung up on would be, I think, at least for me, I like the idea of him doing it intentionally.
Right.
For the idea of what you pitched, though, I think that's incredible. But I think a lot of, like, the comic nerds going to be like, either you have Norman do it, or if you have Harry do it, it's got to be with intention.
Yeah.
Because he's gone. But I like your idea, though, a lot. And I mean, hell, they can still do something like that someday.
Yeah, because to me, I love that idea of the resentment. Mm-hmm. Like, even though Peter knows it was an accident, he still killed her.
Right.
And then from Harry's point of view, it's like, you try to talk me out of all this shit when you were Spider-Man the whole time.
Yeah, you lied to me. Yeah.
And when Peter confronts him about it, have him something like, how dare you try to use her death against me? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm responsible for it. And, like, he's also torn up about it. He didn't mean to kill her. I think that would be such a good dynamic for them to explore.
Yeah.
But maybe one day.
There's a universe out there where it happened.
We are going to get 3 more Spider-Man movies.
We are.
So, Zendaya, I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. Maybe Peter never remembers who you are. Right. Or maybe you never remember who he is, rather.
Or they just bring in Gwen and then
she dies and everything, and then MJ remembers later, He's just like, I can't do this shit no more. Hey, girl.
So I feel like our number 9, like you said, we probably also have to have in common as well.
We have to, yeah.
I have Spider-Man 3.
That's what I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, if you don't have Spider-Man 3 there, I have to use the bathroom, and I want to take all my things with me.
Like, why did I hear the front door close?
Yeah,
the bathroom was right over there.
You're just sitting in here, just
yeah. I'm sure he'll be back any moment now.
You're on like number 3. Yeah, man. You know,
I see headlights pull out. Like, yeah, that's weird.
So my question for you is, no, of course, what does Spider-Man 3 do to land number 9 on this list for you? And additionally, what makes it better than Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Just because of how I woke up this morning. No.
All right. I mean, flipping these is not a wrong answer.
It's not, right? I think so too. Like, you can swap these two easily, and it wouldn't be any skin off my back, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't fight anyone on that. I would be like, if I want to watch, I mean, I would actually pull the Sigourney Weaver defense. I'd be like, well, this has Bryce Dallas Howard,
right?
So it's number 9.
Yeah, and J.K. Simmons, you know. So
that's true.
Yeah. But honestly, it's just because, like, I think that the lows of this movie are just as low, but I think the highs are a little bit higher.
Yeah,
than Spider-Man 3.
It doesn't have a moment that has the emotional punch to me.
It doesn't.
Of the Gwen death. But it also doesn't have as many things where I just sit there and roll my eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a gratuitous dance scene.
There is.
You know, that is really awful.
Yeah.
I've heard, like, Raimi try to, like, defend it, and it's like, it didn't work, pal. Don't know what to tell you.
But, you know, they both also have a really awesome, iconic scene where they have the bell tower.
Yes.
You know?
And I love that bell tower scene.
Me too. Yeah, it's kind of the same as Amazing Spider-Man 2, where it's like, well, if there's one scene they fucking killed, that's it.
That's it.
And then
I think also, like, the Sandman transformation sequence, that might be visually the best thing in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, right, to see when these movies were made and the downgrade of the CGI from 2 to 3.
It is interesting, right?
Because
it sounds like they rushed 3.
The VFX for the Doc Ock stuff, I mean, for a decade, that was the gold standard.
Well, you know, and also, like, for obviously not all the shots, but for a lot of the wide shots, those were puppets.
Right.
You know, for Doc's arms. Which I think was, I mean, it worked clearly, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, there's that one shot where it is definitely CGI, where Peter is, like, going up the building and he's the claws are, like, all around him or whatever. And that just the speed that they did it at without it getting that, you know, where, you know, you just can't discern what's happening.
Right.
You know, it's like if you're paying attention to it, you can see every single detail of the action. I'm telling you, man, that shot especially was way ahead of its time.
I agree, and it almost makes me think, did they get a different VFX house to do 3?
They had to, or they rushed them,
or
both.
Yeah, or both. Yeah. But yeah, man, Spider-Man 3, it feels uninspired, right?
Yeah,
like it feels like they did this because they felt obligated to do a third one.
It's like they're ticking boxes.
Yeah.
It's like they sat down and they were like, okay, we want to do this with MJ. It's matter of fact, MJ has, like, nothing in this movie, really.
And the little she does have is awful. Like, they don't do much to make her likable in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, in all 3 of these movies, she's just Peter Parker's fuck puppet. But that's just kind of how, you know, the female characters were in superhero movies back then, unfortunately. By the time you get around to the Amazing Spider-Man movies, you know, they got Emma Stone out here actually, like, doing work, you know? Whereas, not that I have anything against Kirsten Dunst. As a matter of fact, she was probably my first, like, celebrity crush as a kid, I think. Well, second. Danielle Fishel was like our whole generation was.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Still.
Yeah, we were all about Topanga. Yeah, to the day I die. Like,
Right.
yeah, she gonna be 65 and fine as hell to me because I'm gonna be like 60. So.
Yeah.
But Kirsten Dunst like was gorgeous, and I've seen her in so many other things that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
She was in that Civil War movie
Yeah,
that came out recently.
I need to watch that.
She was stellar in that. I don't think that movie's that good, but I tend to feel that way about A24.
You think they're overrated?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Now A24 does. I think they're involved with the Vox Machina production.
I would never guess that. Okay.
Yeah. But I tend to. I feel like A24 has a lot of movies and stuff that people are just over the moon about, and I tend to think that they are good but not great.
I think a lot of that comes from people perceiving A24 movies to be smarter than they are.
Yeah,
and as a result, they want to say that they really enjoy the movie so that they are also part of the smart club.
Yeah, I think so. I think their TV stuff is much better. It's not Vox Machina. It's Hazbin Hotel.
Oh, okay.
That they're involved in. They also they produce Euphoria and Beef. So yeah, I actually think that their TV slate is way better than their movie slate. And granted, don't get me wrong, I don't know that I've ever seen any of their movies and been like, this was garbage.
Yeah.
I typically just go, well, this was good. Mm-hmm. But I've never been blown away.
I think I'm with you. Like, their movies are unique, and I watch them and I enjoy them typically. Yeah. You know, I think the first time where like I really kind of felt the way they did. What's the movie with Florence Pugh? Like they go to like this European kind of cult retreat. And
Midsommar?
Midsommar, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, because she's in another one with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's got another movie with them.
You know, because when I watched that and people were ranting and raving about it, and I was like, this is the Wicker Man with extra steps.
Yep. I felt the exact same way about that movie. Yeah. 100%. Let's see. What was that movie called? They did... Trying to see... I know she starred in another movie with them, but I don't want to take up that much time on it. We can go.
Yeah, the pacing for Spider-Man 3 was also all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because they're trying to do so much, right? So they wanted to redo the Uncle Ben death.
Oh, cardinal sin.
Right, come on.
And then Aunt May also was such a caricature in these movies, to me.
I don't know if I go so far as to call Aunt May a caricature. I mean, I think that she could have used maybe more at times. But, I mean, for the most part, I thought that she behaved like a concerned mother figure.
I don't know. I thought some of the stuff was comically bad where, like, there's that scene, I think it's in the first one where, like, the goblin, like, busts open the wall in her house or whatever. She's just,
yeah. Like, what the fuck are you? And that's what I would do if a goblin busts through my room.
I don't know, man. He just seemed really cartoonish, you know, to
I
me.
mean, listen, like, this fucking yellow-eyed demon on a glider comes
true.
Busting in my room like the Kool-Aid man. I'm going to scream, too.
These three movies just have a certain level of camp to them that I dislike greatly.
That's Sam Raimi, you know.
Right.
And you're just not going to get away from that in a Sam Raimi movie.
I wish to. I wish to a lot. It's why when I found out he was directing Multiverse of Madness, I was just like, okay, well, it's not Shane Black.
And Kodak written by Shane Black.
Oh, the worst.
I mean, what else can we say about Spider-Man 3 that hasn't been... We haven't mentioned Venom yet.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, after the Venom suit comes off, Topher Grace, he's like, I only put the suit on because you didn't remember my name. And That doesn't happen. He's the best Eddie Brock that we've gotten.
Yeah.
He was actually a reporter.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's just so many parts of this movie where it just feels like they had a hard time. Number one, I think moving Peter on from like high school.
Yeah.
They struggled with that transition. They struggled with giving MJ anything to do. It has the same problem as Amazing Spider-Man 2, where there's all these villains in the movie. Mm-hmm. They're trying to do the Goblin, Sandman, and Venom, all in one movie, and like Harry kind of gets lost in the sauce here.
Oh yeah, yeah, and Harry, I mean, if we're being honest, he gets some downright ridiculous shit to do.
Yeah.
In this movie.
By the time like he actually fights Spider-Man, you're like, oh shit, he is here.
Yeah, and like I remember, there's the scene right in Spider-Man 3 when Harry, he's like sitting in like a cafe, and Peter's like outside, and like Peter's starting to suspect that something's going on with Harry. He's not on the up and up, and Peter's looking at Harry through the window right across the street, and Harry's sitting at a table in like this cafe or whatever, and like a bus goes by, and when it passes, like Harry's gone, and I'm like, okay. Feasibly speaking, where the fuck could he have gone to?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like that made it just. I don't know, man. That shit just made me fucking laugh for some reason.
It's not great. I honestly, to me, I take Sandman completely out of this movie. I feel like
but you know what though? I think that he's the best villain in this.
He is. He's definitely the most sympathetic character in the movie. But honestly, though, I think that I think you have to take one of the three out.
You do.
To fix the movie.
You do.
And it might need to be Harry. It can't be Venom.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine this movie if you take the suit, like the symbiote out?
That's true, because like, yeah, because, okay, maybe you keep the suit, but take Eddie, Brock, and Venom out. And then, like, if they wanted to do a fourth one, that's on the table.
Yeah, like, just have him stay in the black suit.
Or he can get rid of it at the end of it,
Yeah.
Before he does the final battle.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Joel Schumacher, may he rest in peace, got to get a new suit for the end of the movie.
That's right.
Your old suit won't beat the villain.
Hey, those old suits won't sell toys, all right?
Yeah, that's right.
Got to get some new ones.
Yeah.
Even if they don't do anything different.
Yeah, it's just got to be new suit. New suit goofing.
That's right. God damn. Let's move on here. I'm very curious to see.
Yeah. So where it goes from here is going to be interesting. I feel like watch us have like the same list though. We keep talking all this shit about it's going to be so different. We did this with MCU too, and there were a few contingencies, but
that'd be 50 something entries.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
So we're on number 8. Yep. I'm pretty sure I remember my number 8 off the top of my head. Yeah, my number 8 is Spider-Man, the original, the OG.
Oh,
boy. What do you got?
My number 8 is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I mean,
here's the thing, right? Like, I think I certainly enjoyed this movie more than you do.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you do. But it still belongs here.
Yeah, it belongs here, and the reason why I have it so low is because I think this movie will always hold a special place in my heart, because even more so than Blade, even more so than X-Men, this right here really put eyes on the superhero genre. And
I mean, just like the two that we just talked about, it has an iconic scene where Spider-Man fights Macho Man Randy Savage. Iconic scene from the comics that everyone knows about.
Hey, fuck you, man. Like, Bonesaw, all right. First of all, everyone knows Bonesaw is ready, all right.
Oh, yeah, he don't have to get ready.
He stay ready.
He stay ready. I mean, Bonesaw is better done than some of the villains in the two movies that we have in 9 and 10.
I do love that entire scene though.
Yeah,
Peter, he's in like he's in the makeshift costume, and the guy asked him, the announcer asked him, "What's your name, kid?" He goes, "The Human Spider." He's like, "That fucking sucks." And then he calls him the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, it's great scene. Peter's like, "No, I'm the Human Spider." As he's going. So the thing of it is for me, right? Like, I still feel this way. I think in a lot of regards, to me, Toby is the best Peter. And I mean, that's because he, more so than the others, embodies the social awkwardness and just the overall nerdiness of Peter Parker. You have no problem believing that in Toby's performance. I mean, like his Spider-Man to me has always been fine. But compared to like the other two, they're more jovial and quippy, and and clever, and some of that has to do with the dialogue. But even then, I don't know if that's Toby's foray, delivering that kind of dialogue.
When you go back and watch the Sam Raimi movies after having seen the 5 after it, and even the Spider-Verse films. Mm-hmm. You absolutely miss the banter while he's in the suit.
Yep.
It feels kind of like watching something with a laugh track. It's just disconnected.
Yeah.
And it hurts him a lot. I actually think, to me, I think I like Tom out of the suit the best. I think I like Andrew in the suit the best. But I think that Tom Holland is the best mix of them. I actually wouldn't give Toby the leg up on any of it. Not that I think he's bad, but to me, like, best in the suit, best out of the suit. I can't give him either of those.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
So
yeah, for me, it's interesting because I actually think that Andrew is best in the suit, Toby best out the suit, but overall, I think that Tom's overall presence gives him enough to still be the best
combo.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta be honest. Like, I have similar feelings about Batman. Like, I think that easily in the suit, it's Pattinson, right? The acting in the suit,
right?
I don't think anybody touches him on that. I think Bruce Wayne. It depends on what you want, right?
Yeah.
It could be Kilmer. It could be Keaton. Depends on what you want out of your Bruce Wayne.
You say Kilmer?
Yeah.
Who has Kilmer as the best Bruce Wayne?
I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne. Thought he was tremendous.
All right.
But Bale obviously is the best.
Yeah.
He's like the best overall. Yeah.
Yeah. How have we not talked about the fact that like a Spider-Man, a Daredevil, and a Batman were all roommates at one point?
Yeah, that's such a very interesting, because it was Andrew Garfield, Charlie Cox, and Pattinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all roommates at one point.
Yeah. It's kind of wild when you think about it. Like, imagine being that landlord and be like, hey, I used to have
all 3 of these guys. Well, it's just like, what's the guy's name? Ken Jennings? The guy that was like the Jeopardy champion.
Guy,
and he hosts it now.
Okay, yeah.
He used to have a roommate, little known indie author, Brandon Sanderson. I don't know if you heard of him. They were college roommates together.
Really?
Yeah, which is why every now and then on Jeopardy you actually see like a Cosmere question thrown in there these days.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, the 2 of them were roommates also.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they were roommates the first time he went on Jeopardy.
Oh, shit.
And then he like won all that fucking money. So
he kept fucking winning.
Well, I'm out.
Yeah. Deuces.
And then now he like runs the thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. Damn.
If you can't beat them, join them, I guess.
Join them, yeah. Fuck it. Yeah, so we were talking about Spider-Man 1 here. Spider-Man 1, the reason why I have it ranked so low, even though I still really enjoy this movie, honestly, it doesn't age well. I mean, like,
it does not.
If you watch it, it feels like it was made in 2002.
Yeah, I mean, none of these Sam Raimi movies aged well to me.
Two definitely, I think, aged the best. But
see, I like 2, but I hate the way it starts. Well, we'll get to 2 when it comes up, but yeah. But yeah, I hate that beginning. The pizza delivery shit at the beginning. It just puts me off every time. I wish they had a cut where like the movie doesn't start there. It's just so much camp. I just hate it.
It is camp, but it is also very Peter Parker, man. Like,
I know. I don't like the camp. I don't like it. I don't like camp in any of my superhero shit, really.
Oh, man.
I just detest it. Like, I would rather sit through Batman and Robin than I would freaking Adam West.
No, because I would have way more fun laughing at the Adam West stuff.
No, see, the Adam West stuff won't be funny to me. I'll sit there straight face. The cold puns are funny to me, though.
See, that's where we go different ways.
Once again, not the Batman episode. We got anything else?
I mean, we got to talk about Willem Dafoe, right?
Oh, right.
I mean, honestly, like, I think that the cast overall is really solid in this movie. You know, you got James Franco as Harry. I think that he's a perfect Harry for Toby's Peter.
He is. And James Franco was, I think, he was very believable as Willem Dafoe's kid. Mm-hmm. And Willem Dafoe holds the movie together.
With his enormous dick.
Yeah. Yeah, this is before we knew.
That man's got a fucking hammer, apparently.
Also, it's weird because on the way over here, I just randomly thought, I know we're not going to get through this episode without talking about Willem Dafoe's penis.
I would tell you, homies, to Google it if you don't know what we're talking about, but maybe don't.
Maybe don't, but just trust us. Willem Dafoe's got a hammer on him. Okay? Huge. Huge like Xbox. Anyway, I think he's great in this, but even then, his Green Goblin is very mustache twirly, campy, whatever. It kind of, he makes it work.
Yeah. He sells it, and I mean, and honestly, like it's for me, like it's I really love the delivery of his dialogue here.
Yeah,
as Goblin, and it's amazing that like through production, no one realized that he works better without the helmet on.
Right.
Have you ever seen any of like the other suits that they had for the Goblin? Some of them. One of them was creepy as fuck. It was like the animatronic mask thing.
Yeah.
That would have been... I don't know if they could have made it work back then, but if they could have, that would have been the move.
Yeah, the props just... I don't think we're quite there. And like, there's something about that stationary creepy mask that makes it more creepy.
Yeah.
And also the whole thing where, they try to conceal his identity or whatever.
Right.
But also, Harry's reaction to his father being a fucking maniac... was never really, it was weird, right?
Yeah.
It's like at no point when we find out that he blames Spider-Man and then that he blames Peter, at no point is anybody like, the dude was a fucking psychopath, right?
That is true. He was like, I already knew that.
Yeah.
Also, not the backtrackers here, but going back to Spider-Man 3, that fucking butler of Harry has always pissed me off. What? He waited. He waited all this time to be like, by the way, you're gonna laugh at this, Harry. I forgot to tell you. So it wasn't Spider-Man that killed your dad, right? It was actually
right.
It was actually your dad's own glider that did it. Just thought you should know that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clock out.
Yeah, I'm out. I'll see you tomorrow. Just gonna drop that on you,
right?
What's the chick that lives in his apartment complex?
Oh, yeah,
is it the landlord's daughter?
The landlord's daughter, yeah, Ditkovich's daughter.
Yeah. They clearly put her there as a contrast to MJ, who was like very shitty to him, and everybody's just like, "Why don't you go with this girl, man?"
Yeah,
because like she's like legit interested in like Peter Parker,
yeah,
and MJ kind of just wants to bang Spider-Man.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. And then other times she's mad at you for being Spider-Man.
For being Spider-Man, yeah. 100%. It's like Raimi knew that like the writing for Mary Jane just wasn't up to par.
Yeah.
And so he put someone else in there to kind of be a stand-in for a positive, non-toxic influence. I
gotta say, like, when our present day MJ finds out that he's Spider-Man, I had a huge sigh of relief at that moment because I was like, oh, they're not gonna do something fucking stupid. Oh, okay, sweet. Because I was like, when I realized that it was happening in that movie, my heart dropped because I was like, oh no, please, I cannot handle another. Oh, you're a superhero. Now we have to argue about it for the next 4,000 years or whatever. I'll be honest. I even grow very tired of it with Foggy in Daredevil. It just, to me, it takes Foggy way too long to be cool with the fact that his, best friend beats the shit out of criminals at night.
I'm not seeing that's Foggy, because Foggy does take it too far.
Yeah.
But if I find out that you, who in this scenario is also blind, is going out there beating the shit out of criminals, I mean, we might have to have a few conversations before things can go back to...
That's true. I'm going to be like, hey, dog, how you think I got up these steps every time that I came over here to record?
I just thought you counted them.
and the whole driving over here thing.
See, that should have been a red flag for me.
It really should have.
Red is a color, by the way.
Yeah.
I know you don't really...
you haven't seen those, but yeah.
Oh, shit. Spider-Man 1, though, it is definitely campy. A lot of the effects don't hold up. People talk about the scene where Mary Jane is swinging, holding on to a mannequin of Spider-Man, God, and her hair is blown the wrong way. Hey, guys, it was 2002. Yeah.
If you compare this to the original X-Men, X-Men is a way fucking better movie, but this one made all the money.
You think X-Men was a better made movie?
I thought so. I think the OG X-Men is way better than this movie.
I don't know about that one. And I really like the OG X-Men movie.
It's got Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen in it.
It does. It does. But this has J.K. Simmons in it.
That's true. That's true. But J.K. Simmons in this movie, though, is I mean, J. Jonah Jameson is a caricature. But it works.
Yeah.
Because he's an obstacle for Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. For Peter. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anything else about Spider-Man 1?
No, I think we go on.
Yeah.
This is all right. I think this is it. I think the streak is gonna end here.
I think it's on me, right?
Yes, it's on you.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna end here, dog. Number 7.
I swear to God.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
Oh, I knew it. I knew you was gonna say that shit. Get out. I'm kicking you out of your own house.
Oh, shit.
You motherfucker.
Oh, shit. Okay.
There is no goddamn way. Far From Home is a motherfucking masterpiece.
That one scene with Mysterio is a masterpiece. The rest of that movie is the fucking Tony Stark tribute show, and I would really like some Spider-Man in this goddamn movie.
Tony Stark is not even in the movie.
He might as well be. You sure? His fucking ghost is hovering around like fucking Agatha.
Granted, don't get me don't get me wrong. I understand that because of where this movie was placed in the MCU, which was immediately following the death of Tony Stark in Endgame.
Yep.
That technically a lot of people don't know this. This movie is actually the end of Phase 3.
It is.
This is the last movie in Phase 3.
Yep.
It's the last movie in the Infinity Saga. It kind of is like an epilogue to the Infinity Saga in a lot of ways.
It is a weird placement, right? Because it's such a cliffhanger.
Right. But the purpose of this movie, what they wanted to do was they wanted to officially pass the torch to Peter Parker and explore the weight that put on his shoulders of his mentor being gone. And I mean, you can say that makes the movie feel like it's Tony Stark centric or whatever.
And I will.
And that's fine, but I don't have a problem with that. Like, I think it's completely okay in this instance because I think if the movie didn't succeed in passing the torch to him, then it would be a problem. But I think the movie wholly succeeds in that. I think that scene at the end where he's designing the Joel Schumacher into the movie suit,
right,
and you have that fucking amazing moment where Happy looks back at him, and you see him doing the shit, and it's clear that he was so heavily influenced by Tony.
That is a good
but
scene.
He's doing his own shit now.
Yeah.
And like Happy has that moment where he like realizes that not just that he's gonna be okay, but like that the world is gonna be okay, that they have a protector. I think it completely succeeds in that mission.
That is a good scene. I wish the rest of the movie were that subtle. They could have done with half the amount of Tony Stark is dead bullshit.
I love the stuff with the glasses. I hate the scroll reveal. Obviously,
I even forgot about that.
I mean, Maria Hill fucking shoots a motherfucker with a rocket launcher in this movie.
Yeah, she does.
That was awesome.
I hate the night spider monkey thing. I hate that.
Oh, the spider monkey was cool. Honestly,
I hate the elementals.
The elementals are lame as hell, but so is Mysterio, and like it kind of tracks. MJ is perfect in this movie to me. I love everything MJ does in this movie. And honestly, this is the movie where I think they have the best like romance. Like they have the best chemistry between the two of them.
I mean, it's got to be like because the first one wasn't there,
right?
And the third one, there's no time for it.
Yeah. The way they did the pacing and shit in that movie is crazy.
Yeah. So like this movie does, for better or for worse, slow down for their romance, for their chemistry to build, which was needed, right? Because where they're at, at the end of the first one, we really needed something to kind of get us there. So okay, so let me ask you this: what would you have at number 7?
I refuse to let fucking Far From Home be above Spider-Verse 1.
We are off.
I have Into the Spider-Verse.
Really?
Right here. Yeah. I'm sure the people at home are turning this off right now. But I have, my Far From Home is not anywhere near here from on my list. I have Into the Spider-Verse. Into the Spider-Verse, once again, let me just reiterate, I don't like camp in my superhero shit. Spider-Pig doesn't do it for me.
Spider-Ham, good sir.
Yeah, whatever. Peter Griffin says it's Spider-Pig, so... I hate the animation style. It makes me want to claw my face off. My eyes don't like it. I have to extra focus to try to figure out what's going on. It's like cell shading in video games. I hate it. Fucking whoever designed Kingpin in this movie. I'll be honest. This movie comes across like a fucking Lego Spider-Man movie to me.
No.
In a lot of ways. Yeah. I thought it was okay. I didn't love it.
Okay.
You got to tell me why Into the Spider-Verse is better than
easily.
Than Far From Home.
This has a story that revolves around Miles Morales. And it's about how Miles Morales has to grow and develop into Spider-Man, right? And get this. Miles Morales, his mentor is in this movie even, and yet somehow it's still about Miles. I think that's impressive as fuck. But no, in all seriousness, I think that Into the Spider-Verse is if this movie wasn't as good as it was, we don't get the Miles Morales popularity that we have today.
So weren't the first series of Miles Morales comics, didn't they kind of revolve around him stepping into the incredibly enormous shoes of Peter Parker?
He had no relationship with Peter Parker.
That's true.
Yeah.
But metaphorically though.
And guess what? That shit got off to a rock. People forget this. That shit got off to a rocky start. You know, it wasn't easy. Took some issues. He got there.
I don't know if I can accredit this movie to Miles's popularity in the mainstream. Now, obviously, like without this movie, we don't get the second one. And I mean, clearly the second one was a way bigger hit than the first one. I love the second one, but the first one, I could take it. I mean, it feels like Sony made it to me because they did. But yeah, man, I don't love it. I love Miles in it. Okay. And I like his journey. I just can't, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to wrap my head around this movie being better than Far From Home, because I mean, I thought Mysterio was incredibly well done also.
See, I disagree there too. He's my least favorite of the home villains.
And on top of that, the way that Spider-Man beats him is probably my favorite moment in all of Spider anything.
I mean, I thought that the last fight was uninspired in Far From Home.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that the first fight when he gets his ass kicked, that was superb, chef's kiss. If they brought that same energy and creativity to that final fight, I might look at this somewhat differently.
Well, the reason it works out that way,
it's to do with the spider sense, right?
Right. It's once Peter realizes that he can hone the spider sense.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the fucking Star Wars, like, you know, once a Jedi realizes that their senses are secondary to the Force.
Yeah.
You know, their power and their ability grows exponentially. And it's the same thing here. Once Peter stops trying to use his eyes, which Mysterio can deceive easily, and he just trusts the spider sense, Mysterio stands no fucking chance after that.
Right.
You know, he just obliterates him, which he should. Mm-hmm. Because his powers of deception are gone.
Yeah, his powers of bullshittery are eliminated.
And he's just some guy.
In a fish globe.
With some glasses. Yeah. Hey, man, the visual on Mysterio is incredible, too. I got to say, when I heard that they were doing Mysterio as the villain, I was like, well, clearly they're going to get rid of the fishbowl. They'll never do it. And then he came out of there in like the straight up accurate suit and everything. And I was like, and he looks badass.
Yeah. Yeah. In theory, you would think that I would have this movie rated higher because us Quentin's got to stick together. You know, he's Quentin Beck.
Yeah.
But I tell you what I would do here. I will make you a compromise here. Okay. I will be willing to temporarily shelf Far From Home, but I cannot put Into the Spider-Verse at number 7.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll acquiesce on that.
Okay.
Let me go to my number 6 and see if I can talk some sense into you. You think The Amazing Spider-Man is better than Far From Home?
I enjoy it more than Far From Home. Yep. I can put it there though. Because I think Amazing Spider-Man 1 is my number 6.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, man.
Yeah.
The main villain's plot in that movie is to turn everyone into a lizard,
and it's hilarious. It's bad. All right, I'm not gonna defend that, but it is fucking hilarious. All right.
The problem. So we're going Amazing Spider-Man for 7.
I can do that.
The problem with this movie is like, until the giant CGI lizard shows up, it's a great movie.
It's a pretty good movie.
It's my favorite Stan Lee cameo.
Mine too. All of them. Actually, mine too.
Yeah, this one and Civil War are like right there.
Civil War is good too.
The Civil War is the funniest one.
Yeah,
but this one's the best overall. I love it.
Right.
And of course, if you haven't seen this movie since 2012 or whatever. It's the scene where Stan Lee is in the library and he's got the headphones on and he's jamming. And Spider-Man and fucking Lizard Man are just in the background just destroying everything.
At one point, Lizard like accidentally hurls like a piece of debris at Stan Lee and Spider-Man webs it.
It catches it, yeah. It's so good. It's the best Stan Lee cameo. Rest in peace, Stan Lee.
R.I.P. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great cameo. I mean, yeah, that I had that at number 6. So I got no problem putting that at number 7.
This movie, though, there's parts of it that feel soulless. Even not as bad as the second one,
right?
But there's moments in this where it just doesn't feel quite right, and it's inexplicably so. Like kind of some of the early scenes where like Peter's just out, like, I think he's skateboarding, and he, like, comes back to the house, and he's just, like, working on stuff around his house. And those scenes, I don't know what they were trying to tell us with those.
Were they trying to make him feel like a fellow youth, or just human, just humanize him? I don't really know either.
Yeah, but whatever it is they were trying to do with those scenes, I don't think they did it.
Yeah, because there was really not a whole lot of life behind those scenes. And not a whole lot of meaning either. Yeah. Yeah, they could have used that time for something else.
And I thought the relationship between him and Dr. Connors was excellent.
Yeah.
Until, the whole, I'm going to turn everyone into a lizard.
Listen, I've never been a lizard person before. Maybe it's phenomenal.
It didn't seem to go too well for Connors.
Yeah, no. What's the name of the guy that played Captain Stacy? He was in Rescue Me.
Yeah. He always to me he's always looked like Willem Dafoe and Ted Danson fused.
He does resemble Willem Dafoe a little bit.
Yeah. His name is. I always forget that Sally Field was Aunt May in these. She is so fucking good. Dennis Leary.
Dennis Leary, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Martin Sheen was Uncle Ben in
that's
in
right. Yeah.
Craziness.
That is. Oh my God, you're gonna have to remind me. I don't remember the Uncle Ben death.
Well, they just rehashed it.
Was it the exact same as?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
It's like damn near like you didn't need to do this again.
Gotcha.
Which is why they never did it.
Yeah.
In the new ones.
I'll be honest. How often have they mentioned Uncle Ben in the MCU? Once
or twice.
Yeah.
No more than twice.
I mean, Tom Holland's Uncle Ben must have not been shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they never really made a big deal out of it because I think they knew going in, they had a plan. Mm-hmm. Crazy. I think that they were always going to frame his loss through him losing Tony and then him losing Aunt May.
I'm not going to give them that much credit. I don't know if they had that much planned from the jump.
I think they had him losing Tony planned, minimum. Maybe not the Aunt May death.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get jiggy with that.
Because you got to think by Civil War,
they had to have known.
They had to have, because that was when RDJ signed his last MCU contract.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah. Mm. And that would have included Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, and Homecoming.
Oh yeah, So, trying to think if anything else really notable happened in this one.
Not really, because a lot of it was introducing us to this Peter. Introducing us to Gwen and the dynamic with her dad, and they did this whole thing with her dad where he's kind of like obsessed with like figuring out who this Spider-Man person is.
Right.
And doesn't her dad die at the end of this one?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Captain Stacy dies at the end of this one, and so Gwen's got to work through that, which is kind of another sin on the sequel. Like, she's upset, I guess, but like they don't really give her time to grieve.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 1, I got no problem with it being here. So here's what I would do.
Oh man.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and
I just want you to know that I had Far From Home at number 3.
okay, so
I told you guys when I said earlier that I knew we were going to have some huge disagreements on this. Far From Home was the movie I was thinking about.
yeah.
I also knew that Spider-Verse 1 was he valued way more than me.
Yep. Okay, so my oh man, so now it's getting interesting.
So why don't we do this? Okay. I will agree. I will sign the treaty.
Okay.
So we just put Amazing Spider-Man 1 at number 7.
Yep.
Which is interesting. This happened in the MCU review a few times. We both had it at 6. Somehow it got fucking demoted to 7. Like we both made the list, then got here and decided I really don't want to defend that shit. I will agree to No Way Home at 6, but we got to put Spider-Verse 1 at 5.
You mean Far From Home?
Yeah, Far From Home. I'm sorry. You're like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely acquiesce to that.
All right. So yeah, that leaps us ahead quite a bit because we already kind of talked about all 3 of these.
Yeah, we talked about Far From Home, Amazing Spider-Man, and Into the Spider-Verse 1. Damn. Yeah.
Let's count them off here. We have number 10, Amazing Spider-Man 2, number 9, Spider-Man 3, number 8, the original Spider-Man movie from 2001, 2002. Yeah. Yep. Then we have the Amazing Spider-Man 1. We have Spider-Man Far From Home, and we have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So now we are in the top 4.
Yep.
Is that me? That's me?
That's you.
Okay. Well, we think the treaty is signed, but it might not be. Number 4 for me is Spider-Man 2.
You know what? I would offer significant pushback if I wasn't so tired. But here's the thing: I had Spider-Man 2 at my number 3, so I'll go ahead and I'll bring that down.
I mean, due to our previous agreement, Spider-Man 2 actually got bumped up for me.
Oh,
because Spider-Man 2 I had at number 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But see, you ate my number 3.
I did.
And so now everything got so Spider-Man 2 actually got an upgrade for me.
It did. Okay. Great for you.
This movie lives and dies on Doc Ock.
I mean, I think the way the character is written and portrayed was great.
And I mean, they just solidified it in No Way Home, right? That like this motherfucker is Doc Ock. Like just and this portrayal is iconic. I mean, it may not even in a lot of cases get the credit it deserves. I mean, this is an iconic Doc Ock in the way that Tony Stark is an iconic. I mean that Robert Downey Jr. is an iconic Tony Stark in the way that Heath Ledger is an iconic Joker.
Yep.
In the way that what's his damn name? The new Penguin. Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell
is the Penguin now. Yeah. I mean, I like Danny DeVito as much as the next person, but there is no comparison.
Right.
You know, he is Doc Ock.
Yeah.
And I mean, anytime you get a villain that is portrayed and written that well, and has a legitimate reason to be doing the things that they're doing. Because so many times, like, the why is where these movies fail.
Yep.
Like, I feel like most modern blockbusters, they either go for the villain's just evil.
Yep.
Or they make the villain so sympathetic that when they make the turn to being villainous, you don't buy it.
Yeah.
And with this, it was just the right in between point of those two things. That the secret sauce was so good, and also we got to see Peter's arc evolve from the first one, and see the things he's going through. The train scene is fucking incredible. I do not like this movie. I don't. And the main reason I don't like it is because I know a lot of people that think it is the best Spider-Man movie ever made, bar none. Like, it's like the Dark Knight of Spider-Man movies.
Oh, it was for a long time.
And I get that it was, but that's like saying that Batman 89 is the best Batman movie. It's just not, you know? And like, it's objectively not. Yeah, I mean, there are things in this that are iconic, and that train scene gives me chills just thinking about it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because that to me, you can see it being pulled right off the pages.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a great, you know, the old adage is show, don't tell. Mm-hmm. There's like no dialogue really in that scene.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't need
hands. Yeah.
It doesn't need it.
Right.
It's this ultimate display of who Spider-Man is. Mm-hmm. We get a lot about Peter Parker and who Peter Parker is, but that scene is so iconic to who Spider-Man is.
Yeah. You know, it's I mean, we're just getting soft in my older age here, but like I even appreciate like the little things that Doc Ock does in this movie, right? Like when he's talking to Peter about like about what it means to love someone, and about like how you treat that person and the sacrifice you make, and blah blah blah. And because like Peter is going through his own shit,
right,
at this point, and it's really fucking with him. And so like you juxtapose that, right, with the fact that now Peter has to deal with this guy in like a competitive sense. And by the time you get to the end of the movie and Doc is able to come to his senses temporarily enough to destroy the fucking MacGuffin or whatever, the fucking sun in MacGuffin.
Yeah.
It really feels like it means something.
Right.
You know? So I really appreciate that. I think maybe another reason why people still praise this movie, to your point, too highly, is because this did jump the genre forward some.
I agree.
You know, like I feel that like even though people enjoyed the superhero movies that come out within the previous 4 to 5 years, this really showed that, okay, superhero movies can not only be good and fun, they can be cinema.
Yeah. And we talked a lot, too, about how with these big franchises, yeah, the box office is sort of indicative of a specific movie being good, but I think it is exponentially so with the sequel.
Yeah.
So, for instance, Dark Knight Rises, listen, you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that thinks it's a better movie than The Dark Knight. But there was so much hype around it because of The Dark Knight and how incredible it was. And it's the same way with this movie. Spider-Man 3 didn't make all that fucking money because
it's incredible.
It's incredible. It made it because people saw this and were like, how are they going to follow this?
Yeah. Hey, that's the neat part. They don't.
We don't. Yeah. Yeah, we absolutely don't. Yeah, Sam Raimi was like, all right, well, I'm going to go to the house. And then somebody was like, but we got this bag of money. And Sam Raimi was like, well, shit, I can do anything you want for money.
But, you know, it goes like Spider-Man 1, one villain. Spider-Man 2, one villain. Spider-Man 3,
who we got?
Yeah. Dump the bag out.
They just didn't have faith, I think, in any of their villains or really any of their cast.
Yeah.
To be honest, they had J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
They were like, we got Jonah.
Right. Yeah, but like you said, and I do agree, right? Like, even though this is by far the best of the Raimi trilogy, you can still see his age on it.
Oh yeah.
I wonder when we'll finally get to the point, right, where like when movies with like Iron Man 1, when would that begin to show his age?
That's tough because that's tough for a few reasons. I think one of the reasons that that's tough is because visually, cinema, there's a concept in computing called Moore's Law that basically states, that computing power will grow exponentially every certain number of years. But we actually have seen that be broken in the last few decades or so because it's slowing down, right? I mean, if you look at like the best phone you can buy today versus the best phone you could buy 5 years ago, right? It's not that much different.
Right.
Whereas like the best phone you could buy in 2005 and the best phone you could buy in 2010.
Yeah, light years.
Yeah. I mean, that's like going from a calculator to a smartphone just about. Your phone in 2005 might not even had a calculator on it.
Right.
So I think that's a big reason why you can go watch Iron Man 1 right now and it's still just as good as it was in 2008. You got to think, that movie's 16 years old.
Yeah.
But I mean, just technology hasn't, like the filmmaking hasn't really changed. They film most everything now gets, most everything then got filmed in 2K. It was filmed in twice the resolution of 1080p.
Right.
And then they cut it back to 1080p because 1080p was like the business back then.
Yeah.
Also, another reason they filmed it that way is because in 2008, they believed that the next big evolution was going to be 3D. Whoa. And that all of us were going to be sitting around in our rooms with the 3D glasses on. You remember that when 3D TV was like...
Oh, my God. Yeah, I do remember that. And they were expensive as shit, too.
Yeah. Yeah, they were so expensive, but like that's what everybody was marketing. All the flagship TVs from all the TV companies are all 3D.
So there's a universe where like we have like the most advanced 3D TVs and we watch movies on our HD players.
Yeah. Our HD DVD players.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, back then, they thought that was going to be the next evolution. So the reason they filmed in that resolution in 2K was because in a 3D TV, essentially, it's two high-res images on top of each other. So you need roughly twice the resolution to be able to wear the glasses and see it as a 3D image.
Right.
This is getting way more technical than it should, but you know what? I'm here to share random facts with you. You clicked on us.
That's right.
So now, I mean, movies are typically filmed in 6K, so they can be cut down to 4K. But I mean, you gotta think about it. Like, how long has 4K been a thing for a TV? You can buy a fucking 50-inch 4K TV for like $300.
Yeah, it don't cost you shit now.
Yeah. I just don't think you're gonna see a leap to 8K anytime soon. I mean, granted, you can buy an 8K TV if you want to spend out the ass.
Right.
But most of the advancements in TVs over the last 5 years have really been in like the features, the refresh rate, the smart features, apps and stuff built in, like what operating system do you have? And like the actual screen technology also. Screens are thinner and thinner and thinner. And of course, they're even the higher quality screens are becoming cheaper to produce.
Yeah.
It's not the OLEDs. There's a different technology, but essentially it's the way they're making all these cheap ass TVs. Even though they're just price cheap, the quality on them is actually quite good a lot of times, but I forget what the shit is called, but they make a giant sheet of it. And it only costs them like a certain amount to make a big sheet of this shit. And then they just cut it up into like, so it's like this huge roll.
Yeah.
And then of like wrapping paper almost. And then they're just like, all right, well, that's a 60, that's a 50. And they just cut it up and then frame it and that's it, So most of the advancements haven't been around resolution. So until you really see a huge push for 8K, it's not really going to happen. Here's another problem with that. When the giant, the big leap from, DVD to, okay, now we have, Blu-ray, that's 1080p. Okay, well, now we have Ultra Blu-ray. We have 4K Blu-ray, all right? Physical media defined those leaps.
Oh, yeah.
The studios were the ones pushing that. Oh, okay, well, we got to get these 4K TVs out there because we have all this 4K content to give you.
Right.
Now, the TV manufacturers have to push it, but the reason the studios don't want that is because if 8K TVs become the norm, then they're going to have to serve you 8K.
Yeah.
And they don't have the fucking bandwidth because guess what? Everything is streaming now. So it's going to cost them more money to push 8K content to you.
Shit. Yeah, I never thought about it from that perspective.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, it's not a matter of, oh, your old discs are shitty. Let's sell them all to you again at 8K. No, we're not gonna. We've done everything we can to cannibalize our own sales of the disc.
Yeah, they got no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah, the same way they cannibalize their box office sales. You know?
Yeah.
But they want you on the tip for the streaming.
Right.
And then now it's like, no, we don't. We can barely give you 4K. We don't want to give you 8.
Right. Motherfuckers.
Fucking HBO Max. Oh my God. They not to call you out directly, Max, but I mean, shit, they haven't had quality 4K in a minute, but for a minute, I can remember the first season of Euphoria. They didn't even offer 4K back then.
Yeah, you don't need to see titties that clear.
I need to see Sydney Sweeney's titties in the highest resolution they're available.
They're like, well, go watch Madam Web.
No. They're not in that. If they were, that movie would be at least
8 out of 10.
But yeah, that's a nice little rabbit hole we just went down. Thanks for asking that question.
Absolutely. I'll be sure to chop that up and put it up there.
Yeah, also Iron Man, the original Iron Man is just a good ass movie.
It is, right? It's just a great movie.
It's like how, Jurassic Park is still or Batman 89, it's still I shit on it earlier, but I mean it's still a good movie. It's just not saying this like the Batman movie is kind of
Yeah.
Maybe we should do a ranking all the Batman movies.
Oh my goodness.
Episode.
Yeah. You know what? That's only fair. We're doing Spider-Man. This roughly the same number.
We'd have to. We're gonna do the animated movies too.
I was gonna say, what about the animated ones?
That's a lot.
Because goddamn,
that's damn near the MCU ranking we did.
It would be.
There's probably 30.
Because you got to throw in Red Hood,
Bad Blood.
All
those.
That's a shit ton.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Son of Batman.
Yeah, we're gonna have to workshop
Batman versus Robin.
We're gonna have to workshop the shit out of that one some. Yeah,
yeah, I think so. Wasn't there was there a Beyond movie?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, see.
God damn. Yeah, we were talking about Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, we were. We were. Do we want to? Are we ready to go?
I think we are. I think we're ready to move on.
Is that you or is that me?
I think it's me.
Yeah, we're at number 4. No, we're number 3, right?
Yeah, we're at number 3 now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 got a bump for me. I had it at 5. Okay. It got bumped up to 4.
And for me, I had it at 3. It got bumped down to 4.
Well, that's compromise, folks.
Yeah. All right.
I bet we have the same one here.
At this point, I'd be surprised if we didn't. Then I would also laugh if we didn't. My number 3 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah. Agreed.
Oh, okay. I was like, are we arguing?
No,
again?
I had it at 4. I had it at 4. I had it right behind Far From Home, and it got
I got
pushed.
You. Yep.
Robert Downey Jr. made a lot of money in this movie.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that he made that much movie for the 8 minutes.
What was it, like $4 million or something?
It was something crazy
that he made for 8 minutes of film.
It was crazy, right? And from a storytelling standpoint, I understand why, but like from a logistical standpoint, I often wonder, like, was this necessary? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he had to be in it.
He had to be in it.
And the way that they did it was so effective, I thought. Because that second scene, you know, where Iron Man like shows up and like has to fix his fuck up again.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you cared, you would be here. And then he fucking steps out of the suit. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I remember the whole theater. Oh, you know.
Which is crazy, right? Because, like, why would you be afraid of him now he's out of the suit?
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, he, you know.
Yeah.
He's just so intimidated by him. You know what I mean? But, like, this motherfucker couldn't kill you from the satellite dish.
Yeah.
Clearly, like, in the next Spider-Man, they showed that he could have.
He could have.
He had, like, 1 million of these drones.
And I'm like, no one ever questioned if Tony Stark used those for nefarious purposes.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, he had they probably were actually originally designed for, like, as part of the Hulkbuster shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably. I mean.
Like, we need to occupy the Hulk for about 30 minutes.
I would love to have seen, like, they don't do these anymore, but, like, those little one-shots they would do.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen one of him, like, post-Avengers 1, being like, all right, guys, see you later. And he's like, I got to make a fucking Hulkbuster.
Yeah. Immediately.
Expeditiously.
This movie's fun, man.
It is, right? It's a lot of fun. And for me, I think it's the perfect compromise for giving us, like, an MCU entry, but also keeping it Spider-Man. I mean, we see him learn, we see him fall, we see him stand back up, we see him grow. And, like, one of my favorite moments, and I remember talking to the homie Joe about this some time ago, you know, and he agrees, like, one of our favorite moments of that movie is when he's buried in the debris and he's by himself and he's just got to figure it out. And he's just like, come on, Spider-Man, trying to hype himself up. And we're like, that's one of the most Spider-Man thing that they've ever done live action, you know?
Agreed.
And it's, I mean, cause like, and that's why a movie that I'm sure we'll get to here shortly, that's why I appreciate like No Way Home so much, because it comes to a point where Peter just has to figure it out.
Right.
Like, you know, even though you're in a place that's surrounded by heroes, oftentimes you got no one else and you got to figure it out. It's what the first Insomniac Spider-Man game did so well. You get to a point in that game where you're fighting the Sinister Six, Peter's getting his ass kicked, and for a split second you think the Avengers or somebody's got to show up. And then you realize Peter's got to figure it out.
Nobody's coming.
No one's coming. Yeah. And he gets that moment here in this movie, and I love that for him. Also,
what was the original love interest in this movie? Vulture's daughter?
I almost said Michelle, but that's MJ. What was her name?
It doesn't matter. She was fine as hell.
Right? Yeah.
I remember watching this and being like, I like Zendaya, but...
yeah, like there's you got options. You know?
She was thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Yeah.
Yeah, dog, she was bad.
Yeah, I was like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I also love that twist.
The twist was incredible.
Yeah.
The tension in that car ride with Michael Keaton when he like had just found out. And granted, do we know at that moment that it, like, if I recall correctly, we don't know if he knows he's Spider-Man or not, right? At that moment,
he does.
Like,
I'm trying to remember how that he knows, because otherwise he wouldn't point a fucking gun at the kid.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he would.
Yeah, maybe he would. I don't know, but I think he says something along the lines like right before they get in the car to him about him being Spider-Man.
Yeah, he alludes somehow that he knew. This movie also has a pretty interesting fuck up with the times.
Yeah.
You know, so that was interesting. I remember talking about that on the podcast, and then like sometime later, like Marvel actually addressed it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, they actually like corrected the official MCU timeline.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah, so of course we got to talk about the big Green Vulture in the room. This is maybe my favorite Michael Keaton role. Like, I thought he was way better as Adrian Toomes, is that his name?
Yep.
Than he ever was as Batman.
I would say that's a hot take, but I think you might be right. I might agree with you on that one.
And a lot of that comes from the fact that, like, nobody gives a shit about the Vulture. You know?
Listen, like...
this is the only Vulture that anyone cares about.
Absolutely. and I mean, it's silly to pretend otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vulture, he's a silly villain.
He's damn near like a fucking Looney Tunes villain.
He really is. Except, thankfully, his suit isn't made from Acme Pars. Otherwise, it would have just been an old man falling to his death, you know.
Over and over, every episode.
I mean, like, on paper, right, Vulture just doesn't work. I mean, he barely works in the... I don't even think he works in the comics, to be honest with you. There's a reason why he is where he is in, like, the Spider-Man Pantheon Rogue Gallery, you know, like, he's...
If you told me there was a crossover where Bugs Bunny fought Vulture and won, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I believe you. That tracks.
Right.
But they completely revitalized the character.
They did. I mean, from every standpoint, right? Like, this is how you really take a character and do a proper makeover on them. Because let's be honest, guys, canonically speaking, the OG Vulture has not much going for him. You know, he's just an old man who's got some money. He was wronged in the business deal, and he made a fucking Vulture suit so he can fly with some little doodads and gadgets.
The 1600s when they did in Spider-Verse 2 was better.
It was better than, come on.
Where he was like a Da Vinci version or whatever,
And, you know, it's like, in the comics, it's like, why do I get a whole issue of Peter fighting this guy? This shit should be 2 panels long. It should be like when Batman fights Kite Man.
Yeah.
Like, it's something he does on the way to the real crime.
Was it Paul Giamatti Rhino?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be like that. It's like he beats Vulture in like the first couple pages, and then we get to the real shit.
Right. But no, here they give him a real story to dig your teeth into. And this I actually really liked, right? It's like, granted, the MCU overall, they had a problem with the Tony Stark pissed me off summer villain.
Right.
But this is a case where, like, I thought it was just really well done. I mean, because people can relate to it. Blue collar guy, white collar guy, you know, just trying to live life, trying to make money for him and his coworkers and his employees, and they get fucked over with the Chitauri invasion, and then, like, their construction site gets shut down because all the debris and alien shit, like, it's been taken over by Stark Industries now. It's been basically quarantined, so, like, you can't go there anymore. And that was where they were making the money at, in the cleanup.
Right.
You know? And, I mean, as tragic as it was, I guess put it this way, FEMA is still down here in the southeast region after the hurricane from a few months ago.
Yeah.
And there are people making real money cleaning up the mess that the hurricane left behind.
And they're going to be making that for several more months.
Yes.
You know?
And that's essentially the situation that Vulture and his crew were in.
Yeah.
And then they had that taken from them. And now what the fuck are they supposed to do? So you understand why he's so frustrated, because now how is he supposed to put food on the table? Oh, wait. They were able to secure some of that Chitauri technology. And the man, he's got a mechanical inclination. He was able to build a really cool wingsuit. And thankfully, they put a badass bomber jacket on him. They gave him a cool mask that is form and function. And I mean, it's terrifying and it's awesome.
Yeah. Some of the shots of him are just incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
And the fight scenes are pretty good. I mean, they're like not going to make anybody's like top 5 list or anything, right, but they're very passable. Like, they all look good. Spider-Man has a lot to do in this.
Yes.
They even address a lot of the issues with Spider-Man, like when he has to go away from the city, you know, and he suddenly, oh shit, there's nothing for me to swing off of. And they to me took the source material and also the characters themselves very seriously, and then they made it all fit very well in the MCU.
You're right.
They also hugely benefited from the fact that, I mean, the very smart fact that they debuted Spider-Man, they introed him in Civil War.
Yeah.
Which, you know, didn't do too shabby at the box office. Right. Made a lot of money.
Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, had a fuck ton of Avengers in it. Had multiple characters with billion-dollar solo movies in it, and is a sequel to a franchise that has never cleared less than $1 billion with a B.
Yeah.
Some has twice cleared $2 billion.
Right.
You know, so it's very easy to see why that was the right call to introduce him in Civil War. And then when you get to this movie, you can just hit the ground running. They didn't have to. They very smartly avoided doing the Uncle Ben death.
Yep.
They just went right into, like, this is Peter, this is his struggle. And Adrian Toomes here, like you said, it was absolutely somebody that you could understand their frustration. He's not a good guy.
No.
But he wasn't mustache twirling evil either. He was basically like, well, listen, I'm going to do whatever it takes to take care of my own.
Right.
And I think that's the thing we can all relate to. The decisions he made after that, that's obviously where he becomes a villain.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And you know, I get it, right? Because, like, to a degree, he was really just trying to rob Tony Stark. And I don't even know how much of that shit Tony would have missed.
No. No. Because if he cared about it, he'd have been moving it himself.
Right.
And Vulture would have got fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Because Iron Man suit would have wrecked him.
Bruh. Oh, my fucking goodness. That shit would have been tragic.
I don't know what his plan was if he ever actually pissed off Tony Stark directly. Because Tony could have just sent War Machine to deal with him.
Right. He could have sent just a suit.
Justin Hammer could have.
That might be a good fight, a Justin Hammer suit versus
Vulture. My money's on Vulture.
Oh, shit.
Because the Hammer suit is made out of Acme parts.
Right. Yeah. Oh, shit.
All right. We want to move on here?
Yeah.
That was number 3?
That was number 3.
So, I mean, 1 and 2, obviously, we only have 2 left.
Right.
My number 2 is Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I wrote on the wrong name. I wrote on Beyond. It is Across the Spider-Verse.
Is Beyond supposed to be the third one?
Yep.
Yeah, we're never getting that shit. They took it off the schedule, you know. It's like TBA.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the trigger on this episode.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're not getting that shit. I honestly think that Secret Wars will come out first.
Yeah, how did they drop the ball this bad? Because, like, the hype that, you know, was around Beyond the Spider-Verse when Across came out was through the roof. If nothing else, all hands on deck to get this movie out.
These are the same people that canceled Amazing Spider-Man 3 when 2 made $700 million. And they were like, meh. But they re-released Morbius.
I mean, it was Morbin time. What were they supposed to do?
It was not Morbin time. Clearly, demonstrably, factually, was never Morbin time.
Oh, shit.
So you guys heard my thoughts earlier on Into the Spider-Verse. I realize that is a minority opinion, and that I am a lot more harsh with that movie than I am with the other one. Before we go too far, Homecoming also had a dope-ass Donald Glover cameo, extended cameo.
It did. It really
for Prowler, which is amazing. Go ahead and start laying that groundwork for MCU Miles. Anyway.
I wonder if they retcon any of that.
You think?
I think it's a possibility.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
I would love to get Donald Glover just as the Prowler more. Me too. You know?
But man, it's like, I don't know, so much time has passed. They might want to tell the story a different way now. Peter's going to be in a different place, you know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, man, this movie, I think the visual style, I think they amped it up a lot. I think they did a great job with the visuals on this. So many of the visuals in this are unique. They stand out. And I mean, honestly, if you look at like a lot of what I've seen from Arcane, from Vox Machina, and even even this new Watchmen that we've been reviewing, clearly they took some inspiration from this.
I'll be honest, like I wasn't blown away with the Watchmen's visually, but across the Spider-Verse, I thought gorgeous.
No, I don't think the Watchmen's visuals are as good, but I think that they
took inspiration.
I think they took inspiration from this. I think there's a lot of scenes in that where they kind of tried to take what's the guy's name? Something Gibbons.
Oh, Dave Gibbons.
Dave Gibbons.
Yep.
Art style and kind of frame it like this.
That's true.
And I think it's a clear inspiration.
Yeah.
I loved it visually. I loved the arcs that both Miles and Gwen have in this. They're so good. Also, their relationship with each other. This is on another level from Into the Spider-Verse for me.
For me, it's like, here's how you know this movie is good. It's because it doesn't even really need Peter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you know that it's good.
I'll be honest. I kind of check out when Peter shows up.
In this movie, I do too, kind of. You know, I'm not really, like, schlubby Peter Parker for me was so interesting for Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
You know, okay, how does this kind of lazy, semi-deadbeat Peter Parker function? Wow, he's still pretty good in a lazy kind of way. Yeah. It was fun for Into the Spider-Verse. For this one, I don't really need it anymore.
Yeah, Spider-Dad is boring as fuck to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, he's not in it a whole lot.
Right.
That he's like, there's that one moment where there's like, what, 7 or 8 of the main, you know, spider people, and he's like the least interesting one of them in the room.
Right.
You know?
And I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's never happened before.
Yeah. It was an interesting decision to have Miguel O'Hara be the villain.
Yes.
But I think it worked.
It worked amazing. Who voiced him?
Oh boy, Oscar
Isaac. Yeah. It's like one of the few times where he gets a comic role and doesn't get fucked.
Oh man.
He was great. I mean, even like some of the other like characters, like Spider-Punk was done so well.
Oh yeah, he was a fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, is it Spider-Woman? It's on the motorcycle.
Yep. Jessica Drew. Yep.
Yeah, some of that I thought the whole decision to have her like be pregnant during the whole thing was
a weird decision.
I understood what they were trying to say, but I was like, at what point is this just irresponsible?
Yeah, that's where I was at with it too.
You know, but just don't think about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't think about it.
Right.
This was so good, and like the way the cliffhanger is,
bruh. I love this ending.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this ending.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember actually, this is one of those things like, if you like hang out with somebody and like watch Game of Thrones with them, you know, and they never seen or heard anything, and like the second episode in, they'd be like, man, fucking, I just know that Ned is going to fuck these Lannisters up. I just know he's got something for him, man. Like 5 episodes in, they're like, man, you see Ned fight Jamie Lannister. He had to cheat to beat him. Next time they fight, though, he's going to have it. He's going to have it. Right. And then Ned gets in prison or whatever. Like, man, I can't wait till this motherfucker gets out of prison.
He's going to get out of prison, and he's going to prove those Lannisters up to no good. And
yeah, and everything's going to be great, you know.
I am fans. We're in denial. Ned's head is on the chopping block. Someone's going to intervene any second now, and Ned's going to grab a sword, and he's going to... And then I was like, he just get beheaded?
Yeah. It's like the whole time you just be like, I understand. Yeah. I have a similar thing. You know, I've introduced a lot of people to the Cosmere, and I love to hear them talk about certain things and like what they think is going to happen. And I mean, me and you had these conversations pretty recently. Our main character bites it in that, you know, that a lot of people didn't think was going to happen. So it's the same way with this movie. If I watch it with somebody that hasn't seen it, because I watched it at Universal, which is awesome. So incredible, such a great experience. And then when I got home, I like took the fam to see it, and the kids love Spider-Man, and they're sitting there, and Kay is with me, and as the end is pulling near, I'm like looking at my phone. I'm like, yep, okay. And like, that that music starts to the score for this was off the chain, and like I feel like the ending, the cliffhanger builds for like 20 minutes.
It really does, right?
And like no one's moving from their chair.
Yeah.
All the way up to that amazing fucking twist where like Gwen goes to his house and you realize it's the wrong house. Wrong universe.
Wrong universe.
Fuck. Such a good reveal,
man.
And then it just, you're like, man, I feel like we've been in this theater for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you realize like this is it, and that's the cliffhanger hits, and like I'm just sitting there, just watching the looks on their faces, you know, and then they're like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's it. That's the end." And they're just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. Because like, not a whole lot of people knew going into this movie that it was going to be a part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so, like, you get to the end, and I'm like, man, this movie's been going on for like over 2 hours now. We're gonna wrap this whole thing up, and oh no, that's roll credits.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I love that whole sequence. There is something else I want to talk about with Into the Spider-Verse that I did think was really creative. I know you don't care for the art style in the first one.
Yeah.
But what I really like is it's when Peter is trying to show Miles the ropes. And this is something really cool that the animators did. When they're swinging, they're drawing extra frames for Peter to make him look so smooth and effortless. And they do less frames for Miles to make him look janky and that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. It's like little shit like that. I just really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But then you go into Across the Spider-Verse, and it's clear, like, okay, he's got the same frames that Peter has. Mm-hmm. You know,
and Gwen too.
And Gwen, yeah.
I really love all the interactions between the two of them, and also like, kind of a lot of what we were talking about just with Homecoming. Fucking what's his name? The Question, or it's not Spot. The Question. The Spot.
Yeah, yeah.
This is another villain.
Wow, yeah.
Where.
Except at least Spot is D-list for sure, but he has potential.
Yeah.
Like Vulture, there's no reason why he should give Spider-Man a hard time.
Who the fuck voiced Spot in this?
Oh my gosh, what was his name? It's gonna bother me.
Yeah. Let's see.
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, that's weird, right? What else is he in?
That's a good question. Because that name sounds very familiar.
He's in the newest Hunger Games, which was excellent. Let's check TV. He's in the new Scott Pilgrim. He was in.
Oh, okay. Fargo. He was in Fargo. I see that.
He was in Righteous Gemstones.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, there are moments where I almost feel like he's aping Ryan Reynolds.
I never would have thought of that, but now that you mentioned, I can see it.
Yeah,
or I can hear it.
But I thought it stands out. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm like, they could have got Ryan Reynolds to play this character,
right?
You know, Jim Carrey also I think would have done a great job with it.
That's true. He might have been a little over the top,
but I mean the character's kind of over the top.
He's kind of like a doofy over the top.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You can tell that he's actually to him being serious as fuck.
Yeah,
no one takes him seriously.
No one takes him seriously. Exactly. This movie's so good, like I almost forgot that. Yeah, he's the main. He's the actual bad guy.
Yeah,
you know, and Miles, not Miles, but Miguel is just here also as another threat.
Miguel's just kind of a antagonist.
Yeah,
I don't know if we necessarily know enough to think he's a bad guy.
That's
Although
true.
I love all that commentary. He's like, "Are you a vampire?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're the good Spider-Man? Are you sure you're with the good guys?" He's like, "I am." Are you sure though? That scene, man, where he runs from like the 1,000 spider people or whatever.
Yeah.
In anybody else's hands, could have been trash. you know? Yeah. But it was so good. And where they're going on like the train to the fucking moon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he does that dive, like goes back into their fucking hideout and everything.
Oh, that was good. It was so good that it almost made me forget that it makes 0 sense.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Because they're all Spider-Man.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. They could have all done that.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, I guess, you know.
Miguel especially.
Especially Miguel, yeah. It's kind of like, it's so cool, real cool, you know, is what it is. It's like that the last big fight scene in Deadpool and Wolverine where they fight like the army of Deadpools. I'm like, technically, shouldn't most of them at least be able to fight? Fuck it, this is a cool scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, I understand why Wolverine is able to beat the shit out of him because he beats the shit out of ours.
Right.
But I don't know why ours is so effortlessly able to cut through theirs.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We clearly got the best one.
Obviously, right? Well, we didn't get Headpool, you know. Someone else got him.
That's true. That's true. Everyone loves Head. Al Snow said
it. He did say that. What else do we have about Across the Spider-Verse? The Gwen stuff was amazing.
Yeah, Gwen's arc here. Oh my god. Gwen's arc here is what they were trying to do with Amazing Spider-Man 1. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying they didn't pull it off, but this perfected it.
Yeah.
It's so well done. You feel for both her and her dad.
Yeah.
And you want to see them repair that relationship.
Right.
Man, that second scene when she comes back and her dad is like, you can tell he's just been depressed as fuck that she's been gone or whatever, and he's like so overjoyed because he thinks she's gonna stay.
Yep.
And then she basically leaves again. Like, if that don't get you in the feels,
oh man,
yeah.
Then
I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Probably need a therapist at a minimum.
Well, I think by process of elimination, that leaves us with one Spider-Man movie left.
Oh, yep.
And
you goddamn right.
And that would be, of course, the legendary, the iconic Japanese Spider-Man TV show that came out back in the...
You know, there was actually a 1977 Spider-Man movie.
That's right, there was.
With a $9 million budget. I think we should try to find that.
That would be phenomenal. I've seen, like, little clips of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
So, Spider-Man No Way Home made more money domestically than any other Spider-Man movie made globally except for Far From Home. That's crazy.
That is wild.
The total global for No Way Home was $1.92 billion on a $200 million budget.
Talk about return on investment. Jesus.
I think a lot of this was the fact that this is like the worst kept secret in the MCU.
It was a very badly kept secret. They tried.
But I really like the way that they went with it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was brilliant the way they did it because they had Andrew and Toby on all these talk shows lying their ass off.
Oh, yeah.
The shittily edited trailer where like Lizard Man gets kicked in the face by nothing.
By Sue Storm.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was just enough to where the fervor of will they, won't they?
Right.
You know, everybody wanted to go see it to see if they were going to be in it.
Yeah.
Is it true? And I think only Endgame, as far as opening night reactions in the theater, I think only Endgame surpassed this.
I think so.
When Toby first showed up,
oh man,
the way people went ape shit,
bruh. The theater I was in went crazy.
We watched this together, right? Or no?
We didn't.
No, I still was in Atlanta then.
Yeah.
Man, I will tell you this. This was the most frustrating ticket experience I ever had trying to get fucking tickets to something. Oh, my God. But, yeah, I mean, cameos can be awful, right? Mm-hmm. Because on the one hand, it's like, you don't want to take away from, your main characters.
Yeah.
But you also don't want people to feel robbed.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's like you have to find a way to like make it make sense. Mm-hmm. And this movie juggled all of that.
It did. And they gave the other Spider-Man actual reasons to be here.
Yeah.
Like tied to the story, actual reasons to be here. And if they did not, this movie wouldn't be so high on my list.
Also, this movie just takes the like blockbuster movie formula and turns it on its head. Mm-hmm. This movie has like 5 acts. It
really does, right? Like this one was an interesting one to like review and break down because it's like, all right, so Act 1 is like, all right, but then Doc Ock shows up. That's technically like an Act 2, but that can't be Act 2 because
because we have this whole moment where like obviously like Act 2 has to end when like everything goes apeshit when he's trying to reform them, and then
but that's like when the Spider-Man show up. Yeah.
Well, no, but then Aunt May gets killed. Yeah, and then it's like okay, and that's when the other Spider-Men show up, and it's like, but what about the whole arc where he's like fighting Doctor Strange? And
so like it's hard to break this movie down by like the traditional 3 acts because it's not 3 acts.
Yeah. I don't want to super derail us here again, but I might. A lot of people think, and I think I agree with them, that like today's blockbuster was actually kind of defined by Phantom Menace.
Really?
Yeah.
Also,
well, just the structure of it. In Phantom Menace, you kind of like start off with you got these 2 badass Jedi, and they do a bunch of cool shit to like get you into it, and then they have a chase, and they introduce a bunch of characters, and then they go into the Act 2, which most of Act 2 is kind of cooling you down from Act 1, but also building up for Act 3. Right. And then you have the big bombastic, action Act 3, where there's one of your main characters is in a starfighter battle, and the other one is doing some stealth shit, and then the other one is like fighting an army, and just like kind of like the layout of a modern blockbuster. A lot of people say that Phantom Menace kind of defined that in '99.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, although it was one of the last big blockbusters to not be shot, or to be shot analog, because episode 2 was actually the first big blockbuster to be shot all digitally, like completely digitally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh. More random trivia for you. Once again, you clicked on us.
That's true. I'm going to get the more you know button eventually.
Yeah, a little more, But yeah, this movie, it's crazy to think about. When you think about all the cool shit this movie does, you're like, it must be 4 hours long.
And somehow is under 3.
Yeah, but it's paced so well that you're like, okay, well, Doctor Strange gets treated well, other than the fact that, Peter beats him in his own dimension. Yep. We have to set that down. Yep. But like, he's characterized well.
He is.
He's the straight man for somehow. Right. You got this fucking cosmic adventuring motherfucker as the straight man. But his dynamic with Peter is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It might be my favorite of the 3 that they did, out of Nick Fury, Tony, and him.
Oh, okay.
Because in each one of these movies, there's always an MCU chaperone.
Yeah.
And in the first one is Tony. Second one is Nick, Fury, and then in this one is Doctor Strange. Yeah. Somehow Ned and MJ also have their own arcs. Somehow Peter has a fucking amazing arc that's central to him, even though there's literally every fucking Spider-Man villain for the last 20 years is in this movie. Now, clearly, Lizard Man and Sandman both have to take a back seat.
Yeah.
But like, why the fuck does this movie have a great Goblin arc, a goddamn fantastic Doc Ock arc, a better Electro?
Yeah.
Electro gets saved and like reinvented in this movie and like done well. The fucking honestly, this is the best Goblin.
Yeah,
to me,
well, it is
by far. I mean, Green Goblin was wrecking shit in this movie.
Bruh,
he was a force.
This is what the Green Goblin is, you know.
Yeah,
and I mean, and they just nailed it.
We get all the Aunt May stuff. They still find a way to put 2 extra Spider-Men in this bitch.
Yeah, bro, and it all just works.
They give us an X-Men fight on the Statue of Liberty where she has a cap shield.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just incredible, right? And it's like, I just adore this movie. Granted, I'll be honest, there were parts of like, I guess the first third of the movie where I wasn't a huge fan of all of it.
Yeah,
you know, Peter's reasoning for wanting the spell to erase everyone's memory, I thought at times was just eye rolling. Like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Like, so your friends can get into college. Like, this is.
And I mean, at least the movie calls him out on it. At least Doctor Strange is like, you didn't even fucking call them.
Yeah,
you came to have me alter reality. And you didn't even call them?
Yeah, and what the fuck, Doctor Strange, for doing it? You know?
Yeah, it's so irresponsible.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's clear that he's just doing it because he's butthurt about Wong being the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
And Wong's just like, listen, don't do this. I'm going to leave now. And if you do it, whatever. But I know nothing about this.
Right. And that's another discussion we need to have sometime about, like, okay, I get Doctor Strange was gone. That's why Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme. But now that he's back, like, shouldn't there be some kind of
shouldn't be like a election or something.
I don't know how this is done, but you know.
Yeah, I really don't know who decides.
Yeah,
they probably never had Thanos delete one before.
It's not like a guidebook.
It's not in the handbook. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, if he dies, right? But like, what if he gets deleted? What if like he gets like Beerus deleted?
Oh shit. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much about this movie that works so well on so many different levels because just the emotional turmoil of it all. I mean. And the movie never really slows down to give you a breather. No. Which is great.
Like, the only way it slows down is, like, right after May dies, and then they're like, here's the Spider-Man.
Yeah. And, you know, like, that I guess what one could deem the third act of this movie is, I mean, there's no point where you can go take a piss, you can't go get anything to drink.
No.
You are there from that point on to, and for me, it's when Peter takes them up to like one of Tony's old lofts.
Yeah.
From that moment on, you can't go nowhere.
Right.
You know, I mean, I think it's just incredible from that moment on. And the spider sense sequence was money right there.
Yeah.
Where when he knows something is fucking off, his spider sense is going crazy.
The anxiety that movie like instills in you at that moment, makes you feel what he's feeling.
Right.
Huh.
So good. Because, I mean, he's surrounded by supervillains, but, you know, it's like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? And then he pinpoints it to a goblin. And fucking Willem Dafoe just turns it on, man.
And you can just see it activate. Yeah. Oh, God.
And unfortunately for Peter, Norman's been watching some fucking pro wrestling because he
oh my God.
I've never seen a pop-up spine buster in my life.
The way that Goblin fights in this is fucking tremendous. It's some of the best shit, I mean, in any superhero movie.
Yes. God damn.
He just waxes that ass.
I mean, it was just a tremendous ass whooping. Peter fights back, you know, he gets some good shit in, but man, fucking Goblin, he's just having a blast.
And he almost kills Toby.
Yeah. Yeah, he almost kills Toby, which is completely dick move. Understandable that Goblin would do that, but still.
And I also know that at the end of this movie, when Zack Snyder watched it, he was turbo pissed that Spider-Man didn't kill the Goblin. You know, he was probably like, "Yeah, well, if Peter just can't kill anyone, that makes him a really lame, weak character."
Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. I've always appreciated like how Peter is finally on his own at the end of this movie.
Yes. The way they end this makes you so eager to see what they're going to do with him.
Yeah. I mean, because he's got to be street level now, I'd imagine, you know.
Yeah, at least to an extent.
To a degree, yeah. And we also didn't talk about the Daredevil or the Matt Murdock cameo here.
There's so much shit going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Matt Murdock cameo was tremendous. It got a huge pop in the theater, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a great cameo.
Did they put that shit in the trailer?
They did not.
Okay.
Yeah. And, yeah, they kept all of that out the trailer, you know. So kudos to them.
Yeah. That's some advice for, everyone. The fuck.
Right. Have faith in your product and watch what happens.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I really wish that they did not put Red Hulk in any of these Cap trailers.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And I get it. It would be hard to hide, especially with like merchandising and whatnot.
And they want to do the poster.
Yeah.
That poster is dope.
It is.
Yeah.
And I get, maybe it's too little too late, but maybe I can see him being in Thunderbolts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's got to fight the fucking Sentry. Ain't gonna be none of them.
It really ain't gonna be none of them. Unless they've just got some wild powers that we're not aware of.
We got the Sentry MacGuffin 5000, and this will drain him of his energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yelena's like, I got a Sentry Buster suit. It's like, how did you know that?
How did you make one of those? It's all very, very specific.
I had Tony Stark make one for me before he died. I didn't know y'all knew each other.
Yeah. How did you guys know about the Sentry? We don't have time to explain this.
Yeah, we don't have time to explain. Do you want me to use this Sentry suit or not? Yeah, put it on. Fuck.
Oh, shit. She gets in the suit in the back of it. Made by Hammer Tech. Fuck.
No. Oh, well, there you have it, folks. To give you the full ranking, number 10, we had Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 9, we had Spider-Man 3. Number 8, we had the original Spider-Man movie. Number 7, we had Amazing Spider-Man 1. Number 6, we had Spider-Man Far From Home. Number 5, we had Into the Spider-Verse. Number 4, we had Spider-Man 2. Number 3, we had Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 2, we had Across the Spider-Verse. And number 1, the best of the best of the best of the best, No Way Home.
Yeah, looking at this list, it just reminds me that we've had some really good Spider-Man moments. And this isn't even including like the moments in Civil War or Infinity War or Endgame.
Which have great ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or his incredible moments in Madam Web or Morbius. Or
I love in Madam Web when like you wonder what his mother's gonna name him.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And at the end of Madam Web when she goes, Ben's gonna love being an uncle. Oh my goodness, that was
it was tremendous. And when he helped Morbius hit the Bat Kamehameha.
Yeah, and he's like, it's like, I feel like Dragon Ball Z stole that from this.
Yeah.
You know, because you can see like the ghost of Peter helping.
Yeah, because obviously Morbius like broke his arm, so he's just got the one arm. And then so you see Peter's like ghost arms helping him hit the Bat Kamehameha as only Peter would do.
Oh,
classic Peter Parker.
Classic Peter Parker. Always astro projecting. Yeah.
Before we wrap this up, man, where do you want to see them go? This is a big ass can of worms, but where do you want to see them go in a Spider-Man 4? The first Spider-Man to get a 4.
Yeah.
So that it's on the better end of this list. And we've talked about this a little bit on some other episodes, but
So, what I would like to see them do, we're too close to Venom 3 for them to do the symbiote, at least for my liking. Maybe save that for Spider-Man 5. But I do want to see Tom get the symbiote.
Yeah.
Or maybe do it in Secret Wars and then into Spider-Man 5.
Right.
But for 4, I want to see him do more ground level stuff. I want to see Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes.
Charlie Cox. I want to see... It is going to take a little bit of reverse engineering to make him a ground level hero, but it can be done, right? I mean, it's just like how you can watch Batman beat the shit out of Superman, but then also beat the shit out of, whoever, like just common criminals,
Yeah, Victor Zsasz.
Yeah, I was going to say Zsasz, yeah. Same thing here, right? In terms of villains, besides Kingpin, I'm thinking about who you use. You know what? We haven't seen Scorpion yet, and I think that he's a fine compromise between like the fantastical stuff versus the kind of more of a grounded type thug. Tombstone would be very interesting.
Hell, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. If they don't use him heavily in Born Again, I would love to see him fight Bullseye.
Ooh. Damn.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Have him trying to use the spider sense versus Bullseye's crazy, insane nonsense.
Right. That'd be that'd be hella fun.
I mean, as long as, we're not robbing Matt of it.
I was going to say that, yeah.
It's like, obviously, Bullseye's more of a Daredevil villain, but you could absolutely make him work for Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
But you gotta nail it with Matt without him and make it make sense.
Yep.
I would love it. Maybe that could be like the opening, kind of beginning of the movie fight. Shit, I would even love to see that's how. Maybe it's him and Matt versus Bullseye, and like he comes in and helps Matt out with Bullseye, whatever. Right. Like that could be like the Act 1 cool, get people into the movie action scene.
Man, I can definitely see Matt being kind of like that surrogate mentor position in Spider-Man 4,
Yeah, and it'll be funny too because, Matt is also Depresso Espresso.
Yeah.
So
he's like, one of us has to be optimistic here.
Yeah.
And it ain't going to be me. So,
yeah.
Hell, I don't know if Peter needs a lawyer anymore. Interesting rabbit hole. I don't know if you've seen any of like the Daredevil Born Again material, but like I'm pretty sure he's speaking to Kamala's dad in one of the snippets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the fuck is going on here?
I mean, they probably need a lawyer because she be breaking shit all the time.
He's like, I can't help with that.
I hope she's in Born Again. I would be so happy.
Like on the TV, like she's on the TV in the TV show.
No. I want her in an episode.
All right, so homies, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. What would you like to see from a Spider-Man 4?
I want him to team up with Miss Marvel for the entirety of the film.
All right, guys. So yeah.
No. Okay. While I wouldn't mind a cameo, I agree with you. Like Vincent D'Onofrio for sure. I want him to play almost like Penguin's kind of role in the Batman.
Yeah.
Maybe even more so. Like, I don't want him to be like the main threat, but I either want him to be in the background or I want him to be like pulling the strings.
I think he'll be mayor by then. Spoiler alert, I guess. For
he seems to be mayor in some of the Born Again stuff.
Yeah. So if he's mayor, maybe he tries to pass a bill on a smaller scale outlawing vigilantism.
Yeah.
And I mean, because he's like, that would take care of a lot of his problems, just passing something like that,
Yeah. I mean, especially if they go the route that I was talking about a few episodes ago where Matt's got to protect him like Bullseye's trying to kill him for breaking his back and shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, you can't let that shit go.
Yeah. Right? And, I think Kingpin's definitely got to be in it. I'm like you. I want a street level villain.
Yeah.
I think you have to introduce Oscorp into the MCU in this movie.
Oh, yeah. We haven't gotten Oscorp yet.
There is no Oscorp.
Yeah, you're right.
But I do not think you can. So there's going to be a lot of people that be like, but I think you introduce Norman Osborn in this. I don't think you can ever have him become Green Goblin because we already did it, right? He's already fought one. So Peter needs to recognize, oh fuck, you're who,
right.
And kind of always have an eye on him.
Mm-hmm.
But
what about Harry?
That's what I'm saying. You have Norman always be good. Harry is the first Goblin in the MCU in this universe in 616. I think that would be gangbusters, and maybe he kills his dad. Because his dad tries to stop him or something. Like maybe you even do the whole thing where it's like he kind of discovers Peter and he's acting like a mentor to Peter, and then you get the whole deal with Harry where like. Peter's like just better at shit than Harry is, and he starts to get that jealousy towards him.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That could work too. I mean, and also, at what point do we introduce Miles? Do we do it in 4 or save it for 5?
I think post credits for 4.
Okay.
Post credits for 4 either has to be not just a nod to Miles, but like an intro.
Yeah.
Or it has to be the suit.
Yep. One of the two.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Could you imagine Miles starts Spider-Manning on his own while Peter is out there with the Venom suit on?
I think it'd be hilarious. Like we get a shot of like Peter up on a rooftop and he's fucking doing his brooding shit in the symbiote suit, and then in the background you just see this kid swinging wildly.
He'd be like, motherfucker.
That's the end scene, mother. And then
I can't imagine Tom Holland saying motherfucker. But it would be hilarious.
It would be hilarious, yeah. Oh, shit.
He did say, almost say what the fuck at the end of No Way Home.
Oh, he did,
Or Far From Home.
Yeah.
I wanted to not have the word home in the title. I think that the Home trilogy, and then maybe we do something else.
Yeah, what do we call it now? I don't know what we call it now.
I don't know.
I've been hearing like people either theorizing or wanting to be called Brand New Day in reference to a Spider-Man story.
Yeah, that'll work.
And there's also, there's an equally bad story called One More Day.
They could have the day trilogy. The
Day trilogy, yeah. And then Blade can be in one of them. Spider-Man Day Walker.
Oh my God. Vic Mackey could be in one. We call it Spider-Man Just Another Day.
God. I'm going to end this before either one of us tries to think of any more.
Okay.
All right. Well, homies, that is all for now. We've had enough of this for one Spider-Man day. And
don't forget the companion prequel comic, Spider-Man Day Zero.
All right, for realsies this time. This has been a fun episode. Ranking these goddamn Spider-Man movies. Maybe one day we'll get Beyond the Spider-Verse. I'm sure by that point we'll probably have 2 more live-action Spider-Man movies. We'll
probably. At least one.
At least one.
Because it has a release date.
Yeah. But, in the meantime, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Let us know, do you agree? Do you disagree? Are our list, do they work for you? Or is it just a bunch of bullshit and malarkey? You guys let us know. As always, if you have any kind of questions, comments, gifts, threats, food, supplies, hit us up at superherohomies@gmail.com or any of these social media outlets. We're always active, live, and listening. And of course, if you guys want early access to all of the episodes, then you can subscribe at patreon.com/superherohomies. And that's also another cool way to support us. This will be all for now, though. We will see you guys again very soon. But until then, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm superhero homie Caleb.